you've made it very plain. We all should know by now. He is not having any of his video bombs. Not having it. You've made it very plain that you don't care what happens as long as it's a win. Is it any more savory?
Go to the locker room, man. Go to the locker room. Great game. Go to the locker, please. Baby, we got another one tomorrow.
What is it that you don't enjoy about the video bombs?
Huh? It's not about them right now. It's about me.
Oh, yes.
This is the Big O Show.
Welcome aboard. Coming to you live. It's Friday, right? Where are we every Friday? At beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes. Come on out and join us. We'll be out here past 4 o'clock. So we've got about a 4+ hour radio show for you, a radio extravaganza here on the program. Got a bunch of guests, got a bunch of things to talk about here on the show. Do me a favor, Bill, raise up my headsets just a little bit here. And we got, a bunch of guests, too, that we're going to get to here throughout the show. You just heard Jimmy Butler there talk a little bit about his situation yesterday as Jimmy lit it up. 34 points. He shot 11 of 16, 2 of 2 from three-point range. And for me, what stood out of that Heat game was I think Jimmy was looking at the team. And remember, it's a young team. And a lot of these guys have never won. And they've never been to the playoffs. And they've got to learn how to win. They've got to learn how to be consistent. They've got to learn how to prepare. All of those things that you need in order to succeed at the NBA level, right? And you were watching where Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn were kind of struggling the last couple games. They weren't putting up the same kind of numbers. And Jimmy knew that coming off the loss to start off this West Coast swing in Denver, he knew that Phoenix was, okay, this is one of those games that you've got to have. And we're going to play the Lakers tonight, or back in that moment, he's saying tomorrow. I think Jimmy came out balls out right from the get-go because he wanted to make sure he elevated his team early on and gave them that confidence, which you saw. It kind of all materialized throughout the game. And Nunn didn't have a monster game. I think what he scored, like 11 points, I think it was. Hero scored 15. It wasn't like the youngins were lighting it up. Another veteran came in Goran Dragic, right? A former Sun, all that other stuff. He was motivated off the bench with 25 points. And Jimmy, I think, took on that responsibility of, I'm not going to allow my team to get down early on. These young guys need a little bit of a lift. Since I came in, I've kind of been a facilitator. I've kind of been the guy complimenting everybody, and he was good with that. And I got to tell you something. I love that part of Jimmy, the way he's handled things right from the get-go, because he saw the first two games where the youngins were exploding and doing everything, and he didn't want to come in and say, well, okay, all right, yeah, you guys had your moment. It's time for me to take over, and you guys just feed off of me. No. He came in, and things were still going well because he kind of kept the groove going with everybody else, and then he contributed along the way. But then we saw the last couple of games where the offense wasn't there as much, and you had to grind one out, and then you lost another one in the Denver Nuggets, and you lost it pretty badly. And I think he kind of came into this game saying, you know, I'm not going to allow that. Tonight I'm going to establish myself. Tonight I'm going to lift everybody up. And that's exactly what he did. He's shown me a lot of leadership here in the first week and a half that he's been with the team, and the way he's gone about everything. And I really love that, actually, because we all know that this team desperately needs it. They don't have any veteran leadership that's proven. Well, Goran Dragic, but like even Goran doesn't have Jimmy's resume. And that's where, and even Goran doesn't have Jimmy's reputation or respect around the league. People respect Goran Dragic as a player, no doubt. But with Jimmy Butler, there's probably another level there. Not just respect, maybe a little healthy respect of fear, too. Because, hey, that's a guy that can do some damage. And 30 points in that half, that did the damage. That set the table. That opened the door for everybody else to kind of do their thing last night. And they took care of business, 124 to 108. You improved to 6-2 instead of dropping to 5-3, which there's a shot that you're 5-4 after tonight. And 5-4 isn't that impressive. 6-3 coming back to Miami, still a very respectable record. Very good record at 6-3. If you tell me that that's how the Heat are going to end their season, they're going to win 66% of their games, I'll take it. I'm all in. All in. Mr. Math, out of 82, what's that?
That's close to 50 wins, man.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Math. So, no, actually, wouldn't that be a little over?
It is a little over. But 8 times 6 is 48.
So, yeah.
And it's 66, so it's probably 53, 54.
Wow, I'm all in. That's an awesome season. That's a phenomenal. That's a top 4 seed.
Well, that's what we talked about.
Right?
Getting that first round home game.
Hey, listen, I never imagined this. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you, oh, yeah, you know it. I thought this was a 7 or 8 seed team. And maybe it still is. Maybe I'll be right. I hope I'm dead-ass wrong and they are a 50-win team. And they can be a top 4 seed. That would be phenomenal. But having fun with all of this, that's what really stood out to me yesterday, that Jimmy has a good feel for what his team is already early on, and has a good feel that as a leader and the guy that has to take responsibility here, what he has to do. And here's the other part of all of this. He also has the talent to do this, right? Because there are some guys that could probably talk it, Dion Waiters, but can't walk it. He can talk all the talk and say how good he is and this and that, but your 7-year career proves that you're not that guy. This guy can do it. This guy's done it for 82 games. This guy's done it for season after season. He's an all-star. And that's the beauty, that you have a guy that can walk the walk and talk the talk. And when he has to enforce his will upon the team and the moment, he does it without actually really getting the team unhinged in any way, shape, or form. I got to tell you, that to me really stood out yesterday, watching that, because that kind of leadership comes from Dwayne Wade. That kind of leadership comes from an Alonzo Mourning. You know what I'm talking about. That kind of leadership comes from a Tim Hardaway. Those kind of players are the kind of players that do things like what Jimmy did last night.
It's very hard for you to kind of take control of the game like you're talking about, but still facilitate the other guys, like not take away from them.
And also realize the urgency that, okay, you got to win this one, because if not, you're going to go in 3 probably. There's a good chance you lose tonight.
True.
I mean, an incredible chance that you lose tonight. Unless these guys come, because you're not only playing the best record right now in the NBA, and you're facing 2 superstars, my Lord, you got to do it on a back-to-back night.
Exactly.
Oh, man. I mean, and the good thing is they're young. So that's not really like, it's not terrible. They all should be pretty fresh for tonight and ready to go. But Jimmy knew that I'm not allowing this game to get away from us.
Do you know how special?
We have to win this, because like what we talked about, 1-3, I'm fine with this road trip on 1-3.
Considering the teams you're playing.
They're not better than Denver, and they're not better than the Lakers. Those are 2 of the top teams in the Western Conference. I'm good with that. I know they're not better than those teams. It's like last night, I'm watching the Panthers, and it sucked that they lose in overtime. But, dude, they lost to Washington. And I know they had a 3-1 lead, but they lost to Washington. And they lost to Washington in overtime.
Yeah.
I'm good.
To hang with that team,
yeah,
there ain't no shame in that.
They're not better than the Capitals.
No.
They're not there yet. They're not equal to the Capitals, and they're certainly not better than the Capitals. So losing a respectable overtime loss, I'm fine. It sucked. I hate losing.
Washington leaves knowing
it's freaking Washington.
Washington leaves knowing they had to play and bring it.
And last night, Jimmy knew that Suns game was his responsibility. And he said, no. There aren't going to be any slip-ups. I know I have a young team, but I'm going to show them how you take advantage of the games that you're supposed to win. And that's kind of been a thing that we've talked about, right? We just talked about it recently with the Panthers, that I was using the Heat as an example. The Heat last night had their example. Just like the Panthers had it on Saturday with the Red Wings in town, you cannot allow that game to slip. That team did not. They kicked their ass 4-0 and sent them home the way they should. Last night, you were in Phoenix. That's an extremely winnable game. Don't allow these kind of games to slip by you. And I love that Jimmy Butler used that urgency to seal the deal.
Oh, do you know how special what Jimmy did last night in that first half is?
Yeah, it's a career night for him. I don't think he's ever done that.
Here, in the last 20 years, there's been 3 players, one of them Steph and now Jimmy, to have 30 in the first half and shoot 90% from the field.
He was on. Dude, he was scoring without a shoe.
You know what, though? I looked at the stats.
You saw him play without the shoe? Where
yes,
everything
yeah.
comes
It doesn't matter.
off,
It doesn't matter.
And the worst thing is those socks on that floor.
Oh, no. You might as well be on ice.
No, you need to be barefooted.
You're on ice.
You're better off barefooted.
It's like being on ice. You're going to slip.
Yeah, you're done.
Bye.
You're cooked.
Yep.
I mean, it was
and it didn't matter. He'd
sliding and all, he still scored in. That's how hot he was in that first half. That was fun. That was a lot of fun, and I was really proud of Jimmy Butler, the leader of the basketball team.
Look at how everybody shot. Everybody was over 50%, pretty much. You look at the lines, where we shot 36% in Denver, and everybody was missing. Like I said, we couldn't throw a ball in the ocean. Last night, man, everybody was hitting their shot.
Yeah, last night was good.
You're right.
Except for Bam at the free throw line. What the hell happened to that guy? Come on, Bam. You're not a goofball, dude. You're a smart guy. You have a stroke. It's not like you look like a total stiff shooting a ball. Let's go, Bam. Come on, dude.
That's one of the things he had to work on the offseason, and he has improved. He's had one bad night.
He shot well last year in the line. He wasn't a bad shooter at the line last year. I don't know. I forgot what his percentage was, but I think it was even in the 70s, dude. So like mid-70s. I thought he actually did
That's all right.
Yeah, he did all right last year. Like what he's doing now, like what the hell is going on with you? Like, come on, Bam. Brother, you can't be shooting that poorly at the line. You got to do better than that.
Especially when he's number 4 in the league getting to the line, I think.
Well,
I think he's number 4.
Now that because of course his game is closer to the basket. So since it's closer to the basket, you need to be, and you're more active now. They need more of your points. There's less Whiteside, so there's more scoring. He shot 3 of 6 from the free throw line. Jimmy was 10 of 10 last night. Duncan Robinson was 3 of 3. James Johnson 1 of 2. Dragic 2 of 3. Basically, it was Bam Adebayo really screwing up the percentage at 79%. Okay, if he actually hits his shots, let's say 5 of 6, at least, you should. 4 of 6, worst case scenario, still not good enough. 5 of 6, you should be. Come on, let's go, Bam. Man, although he did have a great game. He had 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals, and a block.
You know what? You sound like the head coach that no matter what, I'm going to find something wrong.
Those free throws might hurt tonight. if you're actually in
Oh, no,
the
no, no.
game.
Yes.
And you need
Yes.
some, it's
Everything,
a close game.
every makeable shot, every free throw, if you want to win, you have to convert.
You got to do that. What do we got here? What happened with the best player in college football? Oh, you talk about the young kid, Chase Young. I don't know. I haven't read up anything yet. They haven't said exactly what it is, what the violation is that happened in 2018. He will not play this week against Maryland, and we're still waiting for it. I was driving here, and then I ate some lunch and prepared. I haven't looked up anything yet to see if there's any news on Chase Young, but I don't.
Do you remember hearing anything about any kind of something from 2018 about the surface on this kid? Like, this is out of the blue, right? Like,
Yeah.
we had no
I don't know.
inkling that this was going to happen, right?
I have no idea.
I had no idea. Like, nobody's, I haven't, prior to today, hadn't heard nothing other than this kid's probably the number one pick.
Can I say something that is going to be kind of...
Is this one of Urban Meyer's kids?
No. I don't know what he did. I don't know what he did. And I don't think it's anything criminal. It's probably something stupid. Probably took some money or something. I don't know. Whatever. Signed an autograph.
Lobster or crabs from the grocery
No,
store?
I don't even think it's. I don't think it's criminal. I think it's something stupid that kids do that I would have done if I was a college football player. Because I'm not a hypocrite. Okay, you want to give me a limo and babes and want to ride on a boat and all, and I'm playing college football. I'm taking it, and especially if I'm coming from nothing, I'm taking it all. But that's just me. Here's what I'm going to say that just is completely out of line, but I'll do it anyway because I don't care. This is the best thing that can happen to Ryan Young. The best thing that can happen to Ryan Young. Now he doesn't have to practice anymore. Now he doesn't have to play another game again. His career is set already. He's number one. I know they have Penn State still on the schedule, and they've got Michigan on the schedule and all that good stuff. Not that Michigan's going to beat them. Penn State could beat them. So it's going to hurt their national championship stuff and all that. It's going to hurt them in the playoffs because they'll probably be handed a loss because of this and not having that. That's how much that guy changes everything. But personally, for Ryan Young, okay, that's all I'm saying. Just for Chase Young, I'm sorry. Personally, I'm getting the head coach and the player confused. Personally, for Chase Young, this is the best thing. Because now he's no longer at risk. He can focus on his future. And remember, college football, all they do is use you as it is. They don't care about you. They don't care really about giving you an education. That's why they have people take tests for you and they cheat for you because they just want to make you get through there so you can play football for them, sell jerseys, and get all the money for TV and everything for them. Not that they're giving it to the kids. This is a sport that just uses the student. And please don't give me the education process stuff because that only matters to those kids that have no future in the NFL. All those other kids that are super talented, most of those 4- and 5-star kids, they think they're going to the NFL already. They have no plans on studying. They don't care about a college degree. They don't care about schooling at all. It's such a small percentage of kids that actually care about schooling. Or it's the guys that are at the back end of the roster that they at least know who they are. They know they're not playing pro football. They know they've got to go study to be a veterinarian, a doctor, or a lawyer, or whatever it is you're going to study to be. In a sport that uses these young men for their own benefit and for enormous amounts of money, this is a good moment for Chase Young to be selfish himself and say, all right, well, I screwed up. I'm sorry for my teammates. But, hey, the Boza kids, they had no problem. When they had an injury, it's like, nah, I'm done. I'm checking out, dude. I'm done. Sorry. Christian McCaffrey, yeah, I'm not playing the bowl game. How'd it work out for him? Still a high pick, right? Best fantasy back in the NFL. I can't say he's the best running back in the NFL, but I can say best fantasy back in the NFL, right? How's that worked out? This isn't going to hurt unless Chase Young raped somebody, unless he aggravated assault or armed robbery or something like that, which I don't think it has, because we don't hear anything about cops here. I'm telling you, this is something stupid. This is he booster agent, some guy gave him money, whatever. It's going to be something stupid. Best thing that can happen to Chase Young, because he could blow out his knee in the next game and then screw up all his draft status and maybe possibly screw up his career. I mean, there's a good chance you can come back from knee injuries nowadays, but you never know. What if he dislocates a hip? Whatever. I'm telling you, this is something that he doesn't need to play a down anymore. He's the number 1 pick in the draft. Worst case scenario, he's number 2 because one of the quarterbacks happened to jump him because the team that's number 1, i.e., let's say Miami, needs the quarterback more than they need the defensive end. It's twisted. It's wrong on my part. But this is the best thing that could ever happen to Chase Young. He and his family should be popping champagne bottles and celebrating and kicking back. Now he can start to prepare for his life instead, because college football will move on from your ass quickly. You could do the same.
Didn't we see this last year from Bosa?
Yeah, that's what I said.
It just, follow. I will say this. There's a kid that was at Florida State that was a Rhodes Scholar, Myron Roll.
Yeah.
That you talking about there. There's just there to play football, and there's a few.
He had no
few.
He had no future in football, in pro. He never was going to make it.
He was still got drafted.
He was
even going to Oxford and doing his Rhodes Scholar thing. The kid.
Most of the NFL guys that I talked to said he's a jag. He's not going to do anything. He's better off. He's got a
Use
brain.
his brain.
Yeah.
Go be a neurosurgeon.
But he knows himself. See, Myron was smart enough to know who he is. Even though he thought maybe I could make it in football, he wasn't ever going to be anything in football. He can make more with his mind than he ever will on a football field. But that's just the way it is. Most of these cats, they're thinking they're going. They're convinced.
This is a step. This is a stepping stone. That's all.
Even though 97% of them will not go.
The course I have to take. Yeah. I have to go this route. It isn't like there's minor league baseball.
Right.
That if you want to go be in the pros, you have to go to college.
That's it. There are no minor leagues. So that's why I would say, Chase, best thing, baby. Go enjoy yourself. Go get your agent now. Start getting ready for the combine. Start getting ready for the offseason. Start getting ready for all those interviews. And move on. That's it.
Let me ask you.
And not one team is going to hold anything against you because you took some money for a jersey or something. Not that he did that. I have no idea what he did.
Right.
I'm guessing that it's something stupid like that.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Nothing serious.
No crimes, in other words. No serious crimes. All right? That's what I don't believe it's any of that.
Well, if it was,
yeah, we would
have heard the laws involved.
We would have heard the cops. We would have heard investigation. We would have heard.
Yes,
this is
exactly.
This is an NCAA violation.
This is one of those smack you on the hand, shame on you.
Stupid things.
Do you think he's called Bosa?
Oh, but the thing is,
do you think he's called Bosa and Bosa said, "Hey, man, you know what? Step.
All he has to do is look at the Bosas because they've got it down pat. And remember, with the Bosas, it's a little different. They have their father, who obviously they got their genes from their dad, but they also picked up the experience from the old man. And I'm sure the old man's telling him, hey, look, this is what happened to me. And I never was able to enjoy my career because of my injuries. And when they've had their injuries, they use that, and that's their priority is first their health and then their future. They don't care about the team. And that's John and Joey Bosa did not care about their teams. They cared about their future, and that's the way it should be. Christian McCaffrey, 100% Why am I going to play in a useless bowl game? It's not going to help me. Sure, I might help my team win, but it doesn't help me. It puts me at risk. He did the right thing sitting out.
You know what, bottom line, though, I've always looked at
ladies and gentlemen, until college football
steps
treats its players with the same kind of respect, why should college football players ever sacrifice for them? Because all they are cogs in their billion-dollar wheel, and that's it. And they replace that cog. Boom, boom, boom. They call Mr. Sprockets, and he changes the cogs. Right?
You know the way I've always looked at it
from Jetsons, wasn't it Sprockets?
Yeah, Spacely Sprockets.
Right, there we go.
Why do kids go to college?
Get laid, drink alcohol,
no,
go to parties.
You go to college to get a degree to be able to earn more money in your lifetime. To earn more.
It's not the party. That's the only reason I would want to go to college.
That's like the kid that's
party.
Instead of being a law clerk, you become a lawyer. Yeah. Instead of being understudy, whatever, blah, you become an accountant, CPA. You go to school, you go to college to get that piece of paper that earns you more money. These kids, football players, you have a chance to earn money. It's the same as the kids that are in school for 4 years. It's to earn money. You got a chance to make bank and like hit the lottery. Come on, man. If a kid is that smart, think about this. A kid is like studying to be a lawyer, and a law firm comes in and says, hey, man, get out of there. You just do the studies, this, that, take the bar, blah. We're going to pay you $75,000 a year to start. Forget school, and do your law study over here, blah. You don't think a kid's going to leave? It's the same principle, man.
Yeah.
It's the same principle. If a kid is in college and he's going to get paid, he's going to leave his studies. Yeah. You got a chance. That's why you're there, to get paid.
That's all they care about. And that's why if Chase Young made a mistake, might become the best mistake he's ever made in his life, because it might save him from being Jadeveon Clowney.
Good planning on his part, right? This is something from last year.
Yeah. They finally caught him, apparently. So good stuff by Chase Young. So there's your answer, sir. Big O was a good listen on Mad Dog. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We're still doing Mad Dog. I just don't do it permanently anymore. They have me for filling in purposes now. I can't do a permanent Saturday and Sunday anymore at this point, because this has actually gone well for us. And I want to focus on this more than anything else, because I actually can build this and I run it. And I have all control over it. And I get to do what I want. And I get to talk to the listeners personally. And I get to speak my mind. And I've got no politics. So, and this is going to grow even into weekends. So I didn't really have time for permanency on Mad Dog. But I could have actually done 2 Fridays ago, and I passed up on it. And I could have done a Sunday a couple of weeks back, and I passed on it also because I just couldn't do it at this time. But yes, I'm still doing Mad Dog, but it's just going to be on a fill-in type basis. That's it. I'm really lucky that all of you are supporting us like you are here, and our sponsors are stepping up every day, and I'm even having sponsors that are contacting us every day now. And if you want to be, by the way, a part of our broadcast, whether we can bring the live show to you or you want to be a part of what we do, you can reach out to us on the accidentlawfirm.com text line at 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. Remember, we will have fantasy football for you at 1:30, so in about 45 minutes. Andy Behrens is going to join us from Yahoo Fantasy, like he does every week here on the show. So we'll get the latest there. And if you have any fantasy football questions, send them in on Twitter at Big O Show, DM if you're a little too shy or whatever, you don't want to put it on the timeline. Or, of course, on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. And you can put them also on the YouTube chat board. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can do it there also and send in those fantasy questions, and we'll line those questions up for Andy Behrens at 1:30. We got all of that. Alex says now he is all day, every day. Oh, you're talking about me? But yeah, technically, you can say all day, every day, and night, because since it is podcasted, people are listening day and night. We appreciate that.
24/7, the doors never close.
Yeah. I'm looking at the shot on the YouTube thing. The Judas Priest shirt looks really cool, actually. That's a great shirt, but
no,
just saying.
That is actually, because obviously having the same
the colors.
That shirt is probably my favorite concert shirt of all.
For those of you, there's my little Priest action today. It's a beautiful thing. We love our Priest.
And it's perfect for down here in Miami, man.
Yeah.
The weight of it, just that light,
Oh, yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. Although we're nice and cool here. And come on out here to Hialeah Park. We're out in the second floor poker room. People are out there having some fun, playing some poker, eating some food, getting massages, watching the TVs. You can wager on tracks all over the country. We've got the chairs and the couches, everything all around here.
The bar lobby.
The bar lobby, exactly. So you can watch the show and listen, and maybe we will talk a little bit during our short breaks, because we have short breaks here compared to real radio where they torture you for about 27 minutes an hour in breaks, things like that. We don't do that here, and that's why we give you a lot of talk, and that way you don't have to worry about fiddling around with the dial. You could just keep it locked here. We're going to talk about everything going on in the world of sports. So we've got the Heat back in action tonight, 6-2. Taking on the Lakers, 10:30 tip for that one, so it'll be a late start for me. The Panthers, we just mentioned it in passing. They lost to the Capitals last night, 5-4. Florida drops to 7-3-5. They got goals from Barkov and Connolly, man. Wow, that's amazing. Dadonov, Vetrano, they got goals. Bob had 31 saves. Still, the defense in front of Bob is not good enough, but last night, it's just, they're so good. Washington. I mean, they're so loaded. They're so damn
You know what impressed
dominant.
me about,
They're 12-2-3 coming out of that after that game last night. That's how dominant they are.
There was a couple times in the whole game that they had the puck for like 2 or 3 minutes in our zone. But other than those 2 times, like their goals, they get the puck, and within a minute and a half, it's in the back of the net with a quickness.
They're awesome.
It's stupid.
Yeah, that's why they're amazing. Saturday, which is tomorrow, they will start a road trip. They are in New York to take on the Islanders. Then on Sunday, in a back-to-back set, they're at the Rangers. And then Tuesday at brutal Boston. That's the 3-game set before they come back to the BB&T Center. So on Monday, we will have some conversation to talk about with the Florida Panthers after the Islanders and Rangers game. Let's hope they can go to it. The other thing that's weird about it is they play Saturday and Sunday at 1 o'clock. How about that?
Both games?
Both games are 1 p.m. games. Tomorrow at 1 and Sunday at 1.
Are we, because I know NBC... it has like the national game. Are we the national game? Because the Islanders, if you look, they're right behind the Capitals. They're one of the best teams in the East.
Yes. I'm not sure, but it obviously
the Rangers are in the bottom 5, but the Islanders.
It seems like they're more. We'll use the other machine. They seems like they're more in what's it called. It seems like they're more now a national type attraction than anything else. You know what I mean?
I would say yes.
Yeah. That's probably the issue now at this point. That they looks like, with the acquisition of Quinville, the acquisition of Bob, it was like, okay, this is one of the, main teams in the NHL or up-and-coming teams, let's try
Barkov and Hubie.
Right.
Don't hurt. They've been all-stars,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe that's what it is, that they're a little bit more of an attraction, so people are actually using them. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the show. The Chargers last night ended up losing to the Raiders. The Raiders were a 2-point dog in this game at home. And I think the wise guys in Vegas probably were drinking the Kool-Aid from the win against the Packers. And it was kind of weird that the Raiders would be a dog at home. And it's not because I think the Raiders are this great team or anything like that. It's only because the Chargers are not good. They're not consistent. And I get it that we had this label and we had this idea that they were going to be a good team at the beginning of the year. Now, they've had some injuries, and they've played very inconsistent. And the number one guy is Phillip Rivers. This has been kind of his career. He puts up great numbers. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame because of those numbers, but he throws his share of turnovers at times. He will have those moments. And yesterday, after the game, he was quoted in that game, and he was talking about, the 3 interceptions. He was specifically talking about the first 2 interceptions, which were brutal interceptions. I believe it was the second one that he threw into the end zone. I don't know what the hell he was seeing. The first one, the receiver fell. But the second one, it was like, what the hell are you doing? And you really look at it now, that's kind of what buried him yesterday, was those Rivers mistakes. And he's a hell of a quarterback. But he's such a gunslinger that at times he's going to get you in trouble. And that's the bad with the good. He's been a damn good quarterback. But he'll have his moments like he did last night. And it's not something that you're not shocked when you see it with Phillip Rivers. Why aren't you shocked when you see it with Phillip Rivers? Because you've seen this over and over again. And it's just something that's normal. Now, on the flip side, the Raiders end up winning. I thought that video was pretty cool of John Gruden taking a time to go to the sidelines and shake hands and hug with fans and all. No coach does that kind of stuff. And look, I'm not a fan of this whole move. I'm on record. I think this is going to turn out to be a disaster. They're doing a little better than I expected. They're 5-4. I'll give them credit for that. They've played better than I even expected myself overall, the Raiders. Not that they've beaten a lot of great teams. You look at their wins, it's not a bunch of quality wins. But again, they're not a great team either, so any win for them would be pretty solid overall. I got to give them a little love. Being 5-4, they've played a little better than I expected. John Gruden yesterday addressing the media after the win.
We got a lot of resilient guys. They're going to keep competing. You may beat us, but we're going to be hard out. We are very happy with our foundation, our process. A lot of guys deserve credit, but I'm exhausted. 2 games in 4 days is something I hate.
I don't blame them for that. I've said it for years. You got to have a bye week for this.
Well, in your future scheduling, going to 17 games, you would have the bye week.
Well, let's hope they're smart enough to do that.
You would hope, right?
I mean,
take into consideration the beating, the wear and tear.
Yeah.
I mean, when the coach is telling you he's tired, okay, imagine where the players are at.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's it called? When you look at what's going on with the Raiders, I give him credit, man. I think he's done a pretty good job overall. I don't know if it'll continue. That's the question. I'm not sure if it'll continue. So
you didn't even think him to be 500. You expected him to be south of.
Oh, yeah. 4 or 5 wins. They're already going to exceed what I
The
thought.
whole season?
The whole season.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to surpass what I thought they were going to do.
Well, they're there. They're 5-4.
Yeah, they're 5-4.
They've already hit the mark.
Yeah.
Week 9.
Yeah, they might
week
get.
10.
They might even be a 500 team, which I didn't imagine them being a 500 team. After the trades and everything that went on, now it's a really bad league this year too. Okay, because that's the other thing that we have to look at with the NFL. I'm going to pull up the.
There's just a couple of
I'm going to pull up the standings.
good,
which
great
also,
teams, and everybody else is mediocre. At best.
That's the other thing.
Do we see an 8-8 team making the playoffs? From one of the conferences.
It's a possibility this year. Something like that is very possible, considering the way that this whole thing is shaping out. Look at this. Okay. We have the 1-7 Dolphins, the 1-7 Jets. We have the 2-6 Browns, the 0-8 Bengals. We have the
Chargers are a 3-win team, I think. 3-6.
Broncos 3-6. We got the Giants 2-7. Washington 1-8. Bears 3-5. Tampa 2-6. Atlanta's 1-7. And the Arizona Cardinals are 3-5-1. 11 teams in the NFL are 3 games or less. And then you go with the 4 and 5 win teams, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 20 of your teams in your league are 5 wins and under. So they're either just barely over 500 with the 5th win. They're either at 500 or under 500. So 1/3 of your teams are the ones that, and those are your playoff teams.
No, well, 20 out of 32. That's like 66. That's 2/3 of your league.
That they're screwing around with 500 or under 500.
Well, you know what?
So it's a lot of feasting on each other, and it's just.
You know who loves this, though?
It's a bad league.
You know what, oh?
So, but we've been saying that on this show for a couple years now.
The NFL, when they got set up
while,
salary caps, they wanted parity.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's what they got.
Yeah, but
it's mediocrity.
They have mediocrity. They don't have parity. That's the thing. The NFL is mediocrity, not parity. That's they took parity to an extreme.
So mediocrity creates parity?
They have become the NBA in a way that the NBA, not maybe this year it's a little more open than ever, but for the last 20, 30 years, you knew who was going to be in the finals.
Going in like we did the regular season was semantics.
Right.
You're going through the motions. Give them the trophy.
Raiders beat Denver. Bad team. Lost to KC in Minnesota. They beat Indy, which is, an average team, right around there. They beat Chicago. Again, no quarterback.
Nothing.
It's a great team. What a shame.
That was over in London, by the way.
That's a crime.
That was in London.
They lost to Green Bay and they lost to Houston, the good teams, and now they beat Detroit and the Chargers. You see what I mean? It's just bad teams feasting on bad teams. It's not that impressive overall. But again, I still got to give Gruden credit here. It's 5-4. It's still a little better than I even expected overall, even though maybe there's a reason why we're seeing what we're seeing with the NFL.
Back in the day, us being Dolphins, one of our hated rivals, obviously, the Raiders.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because obviously them being down, not that big of a deal, would you have a problem with the Raiders making the playoffs their last year in Oakland, man? I would like to see that they actually deserve that. The fans.
That actually would be a really cool thing,
right?
No, that would be great.
Good story.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't have any dislike for the Raiders,
but we did once upon a time.
Oh yeah, back then, but not now. They don't mean anything. They don't affect the Dolphins. Don't do anything to be affected by anybody. You know what I mean? Not yet. At least.
Do enough affecting on ourselves.
Not yet. Not yet. Soon they will be. Soon. Big O, what do you think about the Chris Carter Fox Sports situation? Chris Carter's a first-class a-hole, dude. He's terrible. He's a terrible person. Have any of you ever met Chris Carter? I'm not surprised. He mistreats everybody. He's a jerk. He's a skinny version of Sapp. That's all. Warren Sapp and Chris Carter are a-holes. They're just terrible people. Don't be surprised that stuff like that happens to them. They're just bad human beings. That's all. That's really, that one's, when I saw it, I was like, okay, well, whatever. That guy's an a-hole. He treats everybody terrible, man.
Kind of like it finally caught up with him.
Yeah. Those two kind of guys, they get what they deserve all the time because they're constantly treating people like crap. And there's no reason at all for that. All right, let's wrap it up here. Our first hour of the program. Let's start off hour number 2. We'll take a quick break here. Quick break. And we'll come back on the other side. We'll get ready for hour number 2. We will have, at the bottom of the hour, Andy Behrens. So if you've got fantasy football questions, send them in on the YouTube chat board, on Twitter at Big O Show. You can DM them, put them on the timeline, or, of course, you can also send it in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. Quick break. We'll come back in a couple minutes. We'll continue the program from Hialeah Park.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com. No one expects to get...
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
Away, beautiful now. She doesn't wear her shoes. She never likes to choose. She got wonderful eyes and a risky mouth. And I asked her before. She says she's holding it out. She's a frozen fire. She's my one desire. I don't want to hold her down. I want to break her crown when she says, let's go. I like the night, baby. She says, I like the night, baby. She says, let's go. I like the night, baby. She said, I like the night, baby. She said, let's go.
All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Hour number 2 here of the program. Thank you for supporting us.
Back on.
So good.
Oh, I knew you weren't going to let that be missed.
When you're shooting straight through the heart.
All right, welcome back. We take you to a little after 4. At 4, actually, Armand from Dolphins Nation, Mexico. They had like 60 people at the gathering this past weekend for Fin Nation or Fin, what's it called? Fin Fan Club. What was it called again? I have it written down from
Fins
last
Nation.
week.
You had it right.
Worldwide Dolphin Club Weekend. Okay, there we go. Okay,
you're talking about the gathering.
The gathering
label.
They brought
Yes.
like 60 people from Mexico.
Armando, yeah.
Yeah, so Armando will be with us today at 4 o'clock.
Or Emilio.
Well,
one of the two.
One. Armando, Emilio, okay, whichever one. I think they're both going to be with us, actually. I think it's both of them. I'm not sure. NorCal's probably watching. NorCal knows. If the reports are true that Chris Carter had a beef about not getting any Thursday night football coverage, then I got to side with Chris on this. You can side with Chris all you want. I mean, what are you going to do? But the guy's a first-class jerk. That's all I know about Chris Carter. That's the only thing I know about Chris Carter. He is a complete ass. That's all. I can't tell you anything more. I don't know what else happened behind the scenes. I'm sure it wasn't only that, and I'm sure he's rubbed all kinds of people the wrong way there. I'm just telling you, he's not a good dude.
So his reformed alcoholism,
well,
he didn't become a new and changed person and turn over a new leaf.
Well, alcoholism is a whole different ballgame. He doesn't have
went
that
through,
issue.
He went through
apparently.
it. He went through it.
Okay,
he
that's
got
fine.
past it. But usually when somebody goes through something like that, you know what I mean? It changes their demeanor, the way they look at things, the way they deal with people, you know?
No, that wasn't the case. No. Nope. That's not the case. George is chiming in, says, little late again. Hello, boys. Well, thank you, George, for chiming in. Appreciate all of you that are locking it in there on YouTube. Spread the word. Tell the folks. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for the amazing numbers on our downloads, which have been absolutely phenomenal. I know that Bill is working on putting our number 1 up already for you guys. For those of you that may want to catch up and listen to our number 1 on the show, got a lot of things that we got to on the program. They were talking a little bit about the Heat and the Lakers and Jimmy Butler's performance. Last night in basketball, the Clippers, they beat the Blazers 107-102. This is the game that Kawhi played. Kawhi didn't play the night before, and everybody freaked out, and I believe they even fined the Clippers, too, for this stuff, which is kind of funny that they would fine the Clippers. And I say that because Ballmer has so much money that fining him is so ridiculous. I got to look it up here, how much they fined him, but it's a $50,000. That's what it was. Clippers $50,000 because Doc Rivers said Kawhi Leonard is healthy. That's it. That was the whole thing there. The NBA has fined the Clippers $50,000 for statements, including by head coach Doc Rivers, that were inconsistent with Leonard's health status, even though the league said that they have kept up with everything that the Clippers are doing. Meaning Rivers got the Clippers fined for having Leonard's back and saying his player was healthy and daring to rest to stay healthy. It's a long, winding road. Follow the NBA's logic on this one, but here we go. The Clippers are resting Kawhi Leonard on half of back-to-back games this season because that's what Leonard wants, and because we saw Toronto in last June, what happened when you have a rested and healthy Leonard in the playoffs. This should absolutely be no surprise. However, to do that and to comply with the league rules, especially for a nationally televised game like Wednesday night against the Bucks, the Clippers need to prove that Leonard is not healthy enough to play both games. For the record, both games in this back-to-back are nationally televised. So the Clippers doctors reported to the league office that Leonard has a knee issue, which he does, and we saw it flare up during the playoffs last year. It's partially him compensating for the quad tendon issue in his other leg. It's exactly the kind of thing the Clippers and Leonard want to manage so it doesn't become worse. The league went public in the face of some of the backlash about Leonard sitting out and backed the Clippers doctors' official position that Leonard is not healthy enough to play in back-to-back games, which is what I told you. The doctors went and said this, trying to support Leonard. Rivers says he feels great, but he feels great because of what we've been doing. We're just going to continue to do it. There's no concern here, but we want to make sure. I think Kawhi's made a statement that he's never felt better. It's our job to make sure he stays that way. That, however, contradicted the league, and here's the full statement from the NBA. Following additional review of the Clippers not playing Kawhi in last night's game against the Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA has confirmed that the team's decision to sit Leonard for management of an injury was consistent with league rules. The team has reasonably determined that Leonard is suffering from an ongoing injury to the patella tendon in his left knee and has been placed by the team at this time on the injury protocol for the back-to-back games. The NBA has fined the Clippers $50,000 for statements, including by head coach Doc Rivers, that were inconsistent with Leonard's health status. What I told you yesterday, the NBA is the one that screwed up. They're the ones that knew the Clippers and Kawhi were together now. They should know that he was going to be resting on back-to-back games. They're the idiots that scheduled nationally televised back-to-back games. If I'm the Clippers, I continue doing what's best for my team and for Kawhi Leonard. $50,000, that's like me fining Bill 5 cents for being late to the show or something today. Okay, here's your 5 cents. Like, what impact's that going to make? $50,000. That Ballmer laughs at $50,000. You and me, that would send us to bankruptcy. Steve Ballmer, come on, man. That's like putting a couple of pennies in somebody's, can or something for the poor or something. Thanks for the Mad Dog explanation. I must say the personal changes at Mad Dog over the last few weeks have been puzzling. Put it nicely. You and Scott Wetzel were the best thing on there. Well, thank you. That's very nice of you. I appreciate it, and I feel terrible for it. It's a bad business, man. It's a terrible business. What are you going to do? Wetzel also is fantastic. He does an excellent job. Twisted, man. Twisted. Just look at the landscape here locally and how, they get rid of a whole bunch of really good people. But hey, I got to tell you something. This has all been, for me at least personally, this has all been a blessing. Because I was kind of nervous about doing this. I really was, because I didn't know what kind of response. You got to put there's a lot of work too. Okay. It's a lot of work that you got to do to put all of this together. And I'm not afraid of the work, but a lot of the stuff that I've never done. And so now, you got to go through it, but it's actually starting to pay off. And I don't mean in the sense that, Bill and I maybe can make a living from this and survive. I'm talking about like it's really responded. Like you guys have just taken it to another level. And because of that, we're going to be able to grow and we're going to be able to sustain this, I think. And we're able to make some plans for Vegas next year, which is not till April. But I think things are going in a direction that we're going to be just fine. And I the other thing, I think that this has become kind of a blessing for me. I believe it's a blessing for listeners in South Florida or anywhere all over the world that if you're we're going to talk about, like we just did with Chase Young, and we're going to talk about all things that happen in general in sports. We talked about the Raiders and the Chargers and stuff, right, from last night. That we're always going to get into all that, but obviously the center focus of this show will be the Dolphins and the Heat and the Canes and the Panthers and the Marlins and Inter Miami and all that. So those fans, whether they live in South Florida or any part of the world, I think all of you get to benefit from this show in a way. And I don't mean it because of me or anything like that, but we get to at least now give you a full talk show and opinions without any kind of politics involved, which unfortunately, that's how it is nowadays in local radio everywhere. Locally, nationally, whatever. Now they've got their interests in certain things, and they don't want their host to be objective about certain things when things go awry because it could hurt their financial relationships. And it's sad, but that's kind of the direction that we've ended up in radio. It wasn't really like that. When I first started and we were owned by Greg Reed, and all, Greg Reed would never tell you what to do or say. Ever. And if the teams were freaking out, he'd say, hey, man, we're here to air your games. We're not here to kiss your ass. It's one of the things I loved about Greg Reed. Besides, he treated everybody pretty fairly. He also did not get in the way of doing your job. And he understood that you had to be objective and call it like you see it. Only team in town that can handle it is the Panthers. Outside of that, the rest of them, they end up putting pressure on their partners every single time. Those are the facts. What are you going to do? But that's where we're at nowadays. That's the politics. It's sad. And on top of all of that, that's why I tell people when I see young people, I tell them whatever you do, don't pick radio. Can't pick newspapers because they're disappearing, and you can't pick radio. Radio is the worst business. TV, at least you still have something there. But radio, oh, my Lord. Myron says, I love it this way, too, show. It's better, period. Thank you. And listen, it gives us freedom. Bill and I start at 11 sometimes. We started today at 12:15. I wanted to start at noon, but we had a little technical snafu, and so we started at 12:15. Sometimes we'll start at 1. We're normally supposed to start here at 1 o'clock. But there were so many things to talk about before we get to Andy Behrens at 1:30 that I said, you know what, let's start a little early because there's so much going on.
I was just going to say, even when we're late, we're still early, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and so it's cool. And I like it because our hour is almost 2 hours of radio that you would have to listen to. And here's the other thing that I like. In regular radio, you've got to repeat segments over and over again. Because if you're on for 3-4 hours, you get different listeners for 3 to 4 hours. We don't do that here. We don't repeat it anymore because we podcast it. That's how you get to, I missed, talking about the Heat. Go podcast it.
Yeah, you could go back and recapture it. We're not going over the same old ground.
Right, exactly. We're not going to do that, and that's what they do in, you have to do that in radio. That's good radio. It's terrible for the listener if they stay listening for a while. They're going to hear the same thing over and over. And normally they don't because most people listen for 15, 20 minutes and they're done on average. But you're trained to have to repeat everything over and over again. We don't do that here. If you notice, we talk on a subject and then we move on because Bill's right here next to me podcasting it. He's podcasting now the first hour, and he's podcasting a couple segments out of it, the one with Chase Young and the one with the Miami Heat. And so now people
We're looking at 3 segments actually out of the first hour.
There you go. So that way, individually, somebody just wants to hear about Chase Young. They don't have to hear the whole hour. They can just hear the Chase Young segment, and they're done. They just want to hear the Heat. They can hear the Heat, and they're done. So we do it flexible. So if you want to listen to the whole hour, you can listen to the whole hour. Or if you want to listen to individual segments, you can do that too. And that's convenient for you guys, right? Because if you don't want to listen to the whole hour, you just want to listen to, I want to see what he had to say about this or that. You don't have time to listen for the whole hour. You only have time for one segment. Bingo. Now you can pick which segment you want because Bill does an awesome job every day of breaking it down and giving you the individual segments on the different things that we talk about every single day and give you a variety of things to talk about. And speaking of variety, we're going to have fantasy football now at the bottom of the hour with Andy Behrens from Yahoo Fantasy. And I do want to remind you, Andy will be back on Tuesdays. Starting this Tuesday at 2 o'clock, we will have a fantasy basketball segment. Fantasy basketball season is now in full swing. So we figured we'd get a little fantasy basketball talk in there. We're going to do football like we always do every year. I used to have baseball. I may do baseball again now. When baseball starts again, I may have a fantasy baseball segment for the heck of it because we can do that here. We don't have to worry about taking care of everyone because we do that along the way all throughout the show. We'll talk a little Canes football. We'll talk a little Dolphins. We'll talk a little NFL. And if the guy doesn't want to hear fantasy baseball, the guy that does or a woman can listen to that segment. That's the other thing of what we're doing. The way it's designed, you as a listener can pick and choose what parts you want to listen to and what parts you don't. And when the draft rolls around, when now we go to the East-West and the Senior Bowl, we're not limited to the show we're going to do. Now we can have it parked there all day, and whatever interview I get at any time, I can just go to the table, sit down, Bill kicks it on, and we're recording. And then we're podcasting it. We can post it live, which is probably what we'll do. You guys can be ready for live, and then we'll have players at the East-West or the Senior. Combine, I'm not getting any players. I'm not doing that. But in the other two places, I will. Combine is just straight-ass information. That's all I do over at the Combine. Let's go chase that stuff. I don't I don't go, hey, what did that guy run in the 40? I don't really care about that. How do you do in the cone drill? Not our thing. We'll go get you real information.
How many no-hand push-ups did he do?
Yeah. How many? That'd be impressive right there. So I think we've come up with a system that gives us flexibility, allows us to do talk show, and allows you to participate in it. And the only thing we got to add now is phone calls for listeners. And I'm still trying to figure that whole concept out. But that's the last frontier that is left here. And who knows, maybe down the line, we are in studio a lot. And we start to have permanent phones in studios. We could do that also. That might be an option for us down the line. And if you have any ideas for us, please pass them on, okay? For phone calls or anything like that in a mobile type setting. If you know something like that, help us out. That'll be cool. Or any other idea you may have or segment for our show that you want us to add, give us a ring and send us the idea on the accidentlawfirm.com text line 786-322-1105. Let me tell you about Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines. And folks, they got some great deals going on right now as the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. And that's all based on new car sales in North and South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, of course. And right now is the time. You got to take advantage. 2019 models, the ILX, it's $199. The RDX, it's $329. The TLX, $259. The MDX, $369. Only $29.99 do it signing, plus tax tag and registration, folks. Tell them that Big O sent you. Get on down there to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Finest dealership in the business. It is Craig Zinn's, Acura of Pembroke Pines. Andy Barron's, Fantasy Football, next.
That was one of those things that was really disappointing.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up, down. Veterans may qualify for no money down. Michael Kodsey can help. 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change. 122081.
From if you do, make sure to go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best RDX. Pines is the #1 Acura dealer.
Over 2019 RAV4, 30,000 building the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at a when you unused 50% less. Up real 2019 RAV4, not 30,000, 19,775. Up $12,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000. $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we're back, and we're ready for a little fantasy football with Andy Behrens from Yahoo Fantasy. We do it every week at this time, and if you've got your fantasy football questions, send them in right now to our accidentlawfirm.com text line 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. You can also send them in on Twitter at Big O Show. You can DM them, put them on the timeline, whatever you want to do. Andy will then will answer those questions. You can follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens. Let's bring him aboard. Andy, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. I'm not doing as well as John Gruden. He's got a 5-4 football team. That's kind of fun. But I'm good. I'm great. I'm here in sunny Florida right now, actually, just outside of Sarasota.
Oh, outside of Sarasota. Okay, nice. All right, what are you there? Family stuff or what?
Here with my in-laws. Yeah, here with the family.
All right, I like it. All right, good stuff. What was I going to tell you? By the way, I'm with you. I was saying it on the show. I'm actually shocked that they're 5-4, but the league is very mediocre. 20 of the 32 teams have 5 or less wins. 11 of those teams are 3 or less wins. So there's a lot of feasting on each other. That's why Miami was able to beat the Jets.
I'll tell you the other thing. The Raiders have Cincinnati coming up, and they've got the Jets after that. Like they still got Tennessee on the schedule. They've got Jacksonville on the schedule. They got the Chargers again. Like, there is a path for this team to finish with 10 wins and make a playoff.
Hey, listen, don't underestimate Tennessee. They've got Ryan Tannehill now. Come on.
I think I have properly estimated Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill, actually.
Oh, my Lord. That is crazy. And I'll remind folks that Andy will be now joining us twice a week, which is crazy, but he's the best. We're going to have a fantasy basketball segment. It'll be at 2:20 on Tuesdays, correct? 2:20, right, is the time we...
2:20 on Tuesdays, and by then we should have 1 or 2 more players off for PEDs, because that apparently is the new thing in the NBA, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, man. Wow, that's I lost John Collins for the week, man. That's terrible, man. I can't replace him till Sunday night or Monday actually when the new week starts, which is just absolutely brutal. The good thing is, the guy I'm playing currently right now is kicking my ass so bad that even if I had John Collins, I would be losing. So it doesn't make me feel that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's kind of a silver lining.
Right. Hey, man, I got to find a silver lining in everything in life. All right, let's start off with a little fantasy football. You guys out there, you got your fantasy questions, send them in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. Send them in right now. First one up is Josh Gordon playing on Monday on a limited practice so far. Is that a guy that's an option in fantasy football?
Yeah, I would think he's not an option until we really see it. It's a fun ad for Seattle, obviously, a very low-risk ad for them because they're already quite good. Obviously, Russell Wilson leads the NFL in touchdown passes. He's only thrown 1 pick, too, so he's about as good as it gets. I wouldn't mess around with Josh Gordon until we see, he's got to play. I don't know. He's got to have a game with 35 snaps first. And I don't know if that'll be this weekend. Still clearly bothered to some extent by his injury. So I would expect that by the end of the year, maybe by December, we're seeing Josh Gordon deployed in whatever his eventual role is going to be. We'll see it by December. But I'm not looking to start him until we actually get a game where he plays half the snaps.
Okay, PPR pick 2 from DJ Moore, Jamison Crowder, John Brown, and Beckham.
You know what? Beckham is it's crazy that at this stage of the season, we're even including Beckham in questions like this. Like, of course, in September or October, you would have never thought of it. But obviously that team is a train wreck right now, and he's no sure thing. They are talking about force feeding him. Like, Mayfield has specifically said they want to force feed him. They want to get him going early. He's had some decent fantasy games this year. He just hasn't, with one lone exception, he hasn't really had a blow-up game. I trust him, like, especially after last week, and especially with all that they've said this week. I do trust him to catch 6 or 7 balls this week, maybe more than that. I think they get him going early. I think it ends up being a pretty good PPR day. And then I would throw John Brown in this as well, simply because I think he has the best shot at finding the end zone. He's obviously an explosive player. He's facing Cleveland. So you can focus all your attention on that exhilarating Buffalo-Cleveland game this weekend.
All right, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. John Connor with the shoulder is out, so who are you counting on in Pittsburgh?
Well, whenever John Connor can't go, Jalen Samuels is the guy that you want to roll with. We're probably going to see a little Trey Edmonds. He had a role, obviously, in their last game. I think he had 12 carries in that one. But Jalen Samuels is the guy that no matter which way game flow tilts for that team, whether they have to rely on the pass or whether they have to run the ball, Jalen Samuels can do everything. He can, he's a gifted receiver. Actually played a little bit more tight end than anything else as a college player. So a very good receiver. Somebody can give you a little PPR boost. So it's always Jalen Samuels who benefits.
Okay. Arizona, David Johnson's is back. How much is that going to affect any of the Kenyon Drake lovers now?
Yeah, it's a killer, right? Like, a healthy David Johnson was playing. David Johnson's first 6 games of the season, he was playing over 70% of the snaps. He was absolutely dominating touches, about 18 touches a game. He's clearly in some sort of state of disrepair right now, right? And the last time he was active, he got like a ceremonial start, and then they trotted him off, and Chase Edmonds took everything. I don't expect it'll be like that this time. I think that if Johnson is back, he's going to see at least half the workload. I just can't imagine that they would bring him back in yet another, 2-touch, 3-touch sort of role. I think he's going to really be back. So it's a killer for Kenyon Drake, who obviously was great his last time out against a really good San Francisco defense. But I'd probably put the over-under for Kenyon Drake's touches at, 11, 12, something like that. And in a situation like that, it makes him no more than a flex.
All right. They're asking me right now, what up, D. Fells or Ingram, Conley or Amendola? Thank you, Andy.
Well, Ingram is not going to go, so you can't start. You can't start him. He's going to be out in this one. He's dinged. Sterling Shepard is dinged. That whole team is kind of a mess right now. So I would lean Fells there, obviously. And then the other one, Conley doesn't have a game this weekend. The Jaguars are one of several teams on bye, and they come back with Nick Foles as their starting quarterback after the bye. So brutal bye week this week. You got to go Amendola there unless you have better options on the waiver wire. If you're looking at the wire, I would recommend Zach Pascal if he's still out there. I would recommend Kenny Stills is still out there. Oh, Kenny Stills is on bye this week as well. But Devontae Parker, of course, out there in a whole bunch of leagues because nobody wants to be tied to Miami, but he's basically all that's left for the Dolphins right now.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. All right, T.Y. Hilton is out. Last week it was Zach Pascal and Paris Campbell. Are they as reliable for this week again?
Yeah, unfortunately, Paris Campbell picked up an injury, so it's going to be Zach Pascal, it's going to be Eric Ebron, it's going to be a little bit of Jack Doyle. They're going to have to lean on the tight ends quite a bit. Beyond that, I don't think I would trust any of the receivers there. I don't think I trust Rodgers or Kane. So it is going to have to be a healthy dose of Zach Pascal. The one good thing, Jacoby Brissett has practiced every day this week. So even though he was forced out last week with an ankle injury, it sure seems like he's going to be good to go.
Yeah, but, he is taking on the Dolphins. So they are a juggernaut now. after taking down the Jets. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. The hottest team in football. You can't fuck around with that.
I don't think there's a team that's hotter out there. George Kittle could be out Monday for Seattle versus Seattle. What's the options there? Are there any tight ends on the waiver wire that somebody can reach for? Because I don't think the backup tight end for San Francisco is an option.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one, and it gets complicated because Kittle plays on Monday, right? So you can't just, you can just bail on him entirely and say that, oh, Jared Cook's on my free agent in my league, I can go grab Jared Cook. Maybe that's fine. Chris Herndon's out there in a bunch of leagues. Jared Cook is out there because he was injured. He was out there in a bunch of leagues. If I could just scoop up Cook or maybe Eric Ebron, I might go ahead and just play one of those guys over Kittle, assuming that Kittle doesn't practice tomorrow. Otherwise, I think you have to look to a pivot on Monday night, right? Like, you've got to hold out hope for Kittle until he's actually inactive. And if he's inactive, I would want to go with Jacob Hollister, who is coming off a 2-touchdown game for Seattle. Obviously, he's in a difficult matchup facing the Niners defense. But he's been just a magnet for red zone targets for that team. Obviously, you're tied to Russell Wilson, who is right now playing at an MVP level. So Hollister, I think, would be my primary pivot on Monday night.
All right. One more. I got to ask you two more things. One, Lamar Jackson. I am not a believer of him as a quarterback. So far, I don't think he is a quarterback. He's really a running back trying to play quarterback. I don't believe in running your quarterback 200-plus times a year. I think eventually he will end up injured, unfortunately. I don't wish it on him. I'm not saying that. I'm not wishing anything. It's just that's what I've seen my entire life watching this league. The more you run as a quarterback, you end up dead in the water. Just out of curiosity, the guy has a lot of value right now. If you've got a good backup or one that's a starter, how tradable should Lamar Jackson be right now for you?
Well, he's among the most tradable assets at his position, period, right? Because, it's funky because I agree with you in a general sense. The current usage of Lamar Jackson does not scream, oh, this guy's going to be a 15-year starter in the NFL. You can't run 15 times a game, 14, 15, 16 times a game, and expect to have a long career at the quarterback position. Just not going to happen. Like you think, but I don't know. Where are you seeing it with Cam? Like how long is Cam's career going to be? And that guy's huge. That guy's a house. That guy's bigger than most linebackers. So I agree with you fundamentally, but the thing is with Lamar Jackson, he's like, I don't know how many running backs have the rushing talent that he does. 5? 6?
No, he's a freak.
Not many.
No, he's a freak. He's a freak.
Yeah, so it's like owning some sort of combat. He's averaging 80 rushing yards a game. He's among the NFL leaders in rushing yards per game, which is crazy, as he was last year too. So you're kind of dealing with a combination of an RB1 and a QB2, and that's just deadly for fantasy purposes. I mean, he's really, really good. So if I were trading him, and I listen, there are a ton of teams that have you got Matt Ryan as your intended starter or Drew Brees, and you drafted Lamar Jackson as a flyer. So yeah, if you're in a one quarterback league, I think he's definitely somebody that you can throw in the trade block and get. You can get a top tier player for him, or you ought to be able to get a top tier player for him because he's just been brilliant so far this season. You're probably about to get a blow up week from the guy too. Is the other thing. He's facing Cincinnati this week, and the matchups don't get much better than that. They actually have a pretty daunting, their fantasy playoff schedule isn't bad. They'll get the Jets and the Browns, but before that, he's got to face the Rams, he's got to face the Niners, he's got to face the Bills, and these are three of the most talented defenses in football. Nobody's been better than the Niners, with the possible exception of the Patriots. Nobody's been better than the Niners. So he's got some really daunting matchups in December. So I think he's, for that reason alone, I think he's a good name to throw on the trade block.
Adam Thielen with the hammy is out, so that means Stephon Diggs will be phenomenal. Is there a second option there that you would tell people to look at?
Yeah, deep leagues, you can look at Olabisi Johnson. He scored a couple of touchdowns, had some games. He's kind of the natural replacement for Thielen. Can't obviously do everything that Thielen can do. doesn't have quite the same chemistry with Kirk Cousins, obviously, and hasn't been like a high volume guy. Only one reception in his last game, but it went for a touchdown. A couple weeks before that, he was targeted 8 times, caught a touchdown, had I think 40 yards in that one. So he's been somewhat useful. I probably wouldn't rely on the Vikings to cough up like another high end fantasy receiver. I mean, realistically, I think it's the Dalvin Cook show with some Stephon Diggs sprinkled in.
Remember, you can follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens, and you can catch his exceptional work at, of course, Yahoo Fantasy. And if you want to send in a question, as always, you can send them in on Twitter at Big O Show or the DM, and on the accidentlawfirm.com text line 786-322-1105, and we get one there on the accidentlawfirm.com text line where they say, is there a defense special teams that is available to most that you will think will have a really good second half of the season?
Oh, so that's an interesting question. It's more about their overall second half.
Yep.
Well, I just mentioned Lamar Jackson's schedule, and it's kind of daunting for fantasy purposes, but there are some really friendly spots for Baltimore's defense, and they're only about 50% owned right now. That was a bit of a surprise to me coming into the second half. But they had a handful of disappointing weeks, but they have everyone back now. Like they've got Jimmy Smith back. Their secondary is scary. They still got Earl Thomas. Like that is a really good team all of a sudden, a really good defense all of a sudden. You saw the kind of performance that they had against Tom Brady. That's a team that I would go chase for sure. And then you have to look at some of the teams that are on bye this week and coming back. I think Philadelphia is going to, because people drop their defenses when they go on a bye. I think Philadelphia's got a decent slate coming up after their bye. And New Orleans, obviously coming back. That is just a really good defense, period, and there are going to be some friendly spots there for them as well.
There you go. All right, Andy, what are you doing at Yahoo Fantasy so folks can check you out, my friend?
Catch us on Fantasy Football Live, 90 minutes before kickoff on Sunday. Also, please check out the Yahoo Fantasy Basketball Podcast. It's with myself and Dalton Del Don. We had a really fun conversation with Jim McCormick, my friend, this weekend. So we're really enjoying that podcast, and we're doing that every week about fantasy.
Hey, send me the link so I can retweet it for you, okay?
Yeah, there you go.
All right, we'll do that. All right, my brother. You are the best,
Thanks,
Andy.
Big O.
Thank you, my man.
Good luck, everyone.
You got it, baby. There you go. He's the best, man. Andy Behrens, we love having him on, and we will podcast that segment for you also. We do it. Bill does it every week. He podcasts that segment. But just a reminder for those of you that are fantasy football players and you send in your fantasy questions, we podcast this segment. So just in case you miss it, we don't have to repeat it. We don't do that here on the show. We don't have to repeat anything. We could just say it one time, go over everything one time, and then we can move on. It's a beautiful thing, man. I love it. I love it. We are out here at Hialeah Park. Thank you for tuning in.
That I love.
Hialeah Park?
Yeah, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, I can't.
Some places we're outside.
Can't argue with the man.
Some places we're outside. We're in the hotel lobby here, man.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And everybody's so nice too. That's the other thing about Hialeah Park. They're all so nice.
Every single person.
God, they are really, really nice and really helpful. And
even the people when you're walking and cleaning up the place.
Yeah.
Hi. Good morning.
Yeah, it's just it's really pleasant place to come, and it's a great place tomorrow. You want to come on out?
It's almost like being in Disney World. You know how when you go to Disney World, they're just this feel, this vibe.
You love your poker? Come on out here, play your poker. You can be watching the games tomorrow night. Tomorrow. Look, you got noon, Penn State and Minnesota. So you can be gambling out here, enjoying a little. They can give you a massage. You can eat. You can watch the games. You can gamble. At 3:30, you got LSU, Alabama. So you can watch the LSU-Alabama game. At 4 o'clock, you got Iowa and Wisconsin. Those are the 3 marquee games in college football tomorrow. And UM-Louisville, you can watch that there too if you want. It might get you in a bad mood at the end if they lose.
That's not a marquee game, man.
No, just for us. That's about it. Brody Miller, speaking of LSU, is going to join us in the next hour at 2:30. And we'll talk to Brody Miller because he's the LSU beat reporter. Some of you out there are very interested in Joe Burrow to be a Miami Dolphin. Although you may not be interested in Joe Burrow being a Miami Dolphin on Sunday. Because if he has a crappy Saturday against Alabama, your opinion changes by Sunday. I hope Tua is himself for this game. Because you have to remember, Tua has had a couple of big-time games where he kind of didn't show up and somebody else showed up for him instead. And he kind of needs this game in a way. And this is one of those games that's a great he hasn't had a measuring stick game this year. And look, the kid is deadly accurate. I like Tua, the quarterback. Right now, I'm worried about the body. Because if he gets injured consistently now, the 2 years that he has been a full-time player, that bothers me. You got to have some durability, man. It's a talent, it's a skill, it's luck, it's probably a little bit of everything. He has to show me durability. I got to see that, and this is going to be a great game tomorrow at 3:30. I love that the Panthers are at 1 because it kind of clears it out of the way. By 3:30, the game's almost done. And, well, hopefully it is done. Hopefully the Panthers are up by like 5 goals, and I can all right, I'm done. I can focus on Alabama, LSU. Everybody in the Dolphin Nation is going to be watching Alabama, LSU. It's going to be the most watched game ever by the Dolphin Nation because half the Dolphin Nation wants Tua, the other half want Burrow. We're all still kind of maybe a little – we're all equally not necessarily convinced about Burrow or Tua. Maybe some of you out there are Herbert fans. I don't hear a lot of Dolphin fans telling me that they're Herbert fans. That one I don't hear. Is it because Herbert has not had those great moments? Is it because Herbert is lost out there in Oregon and because we don't respect the Pac-12? Because we really don't. But that game tomorrow, Alabama and LSU, that game right there alone may swing the emotions for an entire fan base. Now, I do want to walk you through a little bit of your emotions here, Dolphin fans, while you're deciding between Tua and Burrow or whatever. Nothing's guaranteed yet because Miami doesn't have the number 1 pick yet. So they won't have their pick of the litter at that moment. Right now, they're not picking number 1 if the season ended at this point in time. And I don't believe they're going to end up picking number 1 when it's all said and done because I didn't foresee the NFL to be as bad as – think about this.
So you're blaming this on the rest of the league?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, I am. I mean, Cincinnati thought they were going to win some games. They can't win squat. The Jets thought they had $100 million. They had their golden arm quarterback. They brought in the guru. How'd that work out? That's the thing. You start looking around. Cleveland Browns had all the hype in the world. They have all the talent. They got 2 wins.
They beat the Ravens.
They got 2 wins. That's the thing. You start to look around the landscape, and you damn right I got to blame the league. I can't blame the Dolphins. They tore it down. They did what the Dolphins are doing what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to win a lot of games. They went young.
The rest of the league didn't get the script, man.
Yeah,
the memo.
The rest of the league is full of incompetence. And so that's why we're in this position. Because the rest of the league doesn't know what the hell they're doing. That's what it's all about. That's the problem here. It's the rest of the league. It certainly isn't Miami. I can't blame Miami. They did what they were supposed to do. We got a pretty good coach right now that can get the max out of his players. And there hasn't been as much tanking talk anymore. You notice that? They're not going out of their way to call that the Dolphins are tanking. Have you noticed that? And why is that? Because the rest of the league is pretty crappy now. And so now they're looking at it going, wait a minute, we're going to pick on the Dolphins, and the Dolphins might be more competent than those other teams because their coaching staff is getting more out of people than some of these other teams that wanted to win, like the Jets, who are 1-7, and the Browns, who are 2-6, and the Bengals are 0-8. The Washington Redskins thought they were going to win something. Not like a playoffs or anything, but they thought they would win some games. They're 1-8. The Atlanta Falcons are 1-7. 1-7. I thought Arizona would be competing with Miami, and they've got 3 wins and a tie. It's funny how Cliff Kingsbury looks more competent than I ever thought he would. But that's interesting how that game is going to carry so much weight in Dolphin Nation. There's never been a college football game ever watched by the Miami Dolphin football fans than this one. Never. It's never happened.
What this situation?
One game, LSU, Alabama.
The 2 quarterback. I mean, it's major.
It's everything. Every Dolphin in the world will be watching this game just because they're interested in both quarterbacks. And you already have your factions of Tua people and Burrow people, right?
You know what the problem is, though, with that, man? I'll go back to once upon a time, and there was clearly 2 guys, and they went 1-2, and it was, are you a Leaf or are you a Peyton?
Yeah.
And the thing was, Peyton at Tennessee never beat Florida.
Right. He had
and Ryan had thrown these bombs in the blizzard.
He had that snow game that was
Washington
that
State.
was on national television, and
coming
everybody
from
saw it.
Bledsoe's
It was a hell
school.
of a performance.
Yeah, no,
it was a hell of a
it was
performance.
like and if I recall correctly, we were Ryan Leaf.
Oh,
people
yeah.
because of Peyton
Being
never
the
getting over the
Florida
Gator.
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But this is not
And the thing
neither
is
one of
this,
these guys are looked at that way.
Okay, but
at the moment,
when you make that decision, man, that's it. You have to live with it. And you know what? It could be a total win. It could be a total bust. Right. And you really don't, man. It literally is like walking up to the craps tables, man, and you're rolling dice.
And that's why if you're the Dolphins, do you take a page out of the Redskins and Mike Shanahan? Mike Shanahan was not convinced with RG3. He didn't want RG3. The owner was in love with RG3. So Mike Shanahan said, yeah, I'm going to draft this guy Kirk Cousins in the 4th round too. And Jimmy wasn't convinced with Troy Aikman. But they had to convince him, and they did. And he listened to his people, and they took Troy Aikman. But because he wasn't convinced, he took Steve Walsh.
Yeah, in the supplemental draft.
It's happened twice. Do the Dolphins, after trading for Rosen, do they draft 2 quarterbacks and have a room of 3 young quarterbacks in it competing? That might not be a bad idea. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking, let's say you take Burrow or Tua early, and let's say Jordan Love is in the 3rd or 4th rounds, and you take Jordan Love in the 4th round or 3rd round. Maybe Jordan doesn't fall that far. But just have fun with this, okay? Do you do something like that? If you're the Dolphins, do you just take that fishnet approach and you say, okay, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep finding. We're going to try to unearth every quarterback possible.
I'm in for that plan.
Yeah, I mean,
because it ensures that you're going to
14 draft picks.
Yes, you're going to catch. Right? Right?
Yeah, you got it. It's got to happen. But it'll never happen if you're not making any moves. And at least we know that Chris Greer is going to make moves. And here's the other thing that we don't know. We don't know how you're going to feel in a couple more games and a bowl game because it may go awry for Burrow or Tua. And then you're not convinced. And so then now you don't reach for that quarterback early in the draft. You take one, but you take them later. And I don't know who it's going to be when it's all said and done at that point. There's still things that could develop from all of this. If Tua suffers another injury, he's going to be off your board for sure. My board for sure. He's almost I'm almost at the point where I don't want to draft him, put it that way, because of the injuries. I'm a little concerned with that.
You think his ankles are going to improve playing NFL talent as opposed to college talent?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So we'll see what happens with Tua. All right, let's take a break. We got 2 hours down already. We got hour number 3 coming up. We will take a break, come back on the other side. At 2:30, Brody Miller is going to join us, the LSU beat writer for The Athletic. So we'll get a little preview of LSU and Alabama. Plus, we'll talk Joe Burrow with Brody Miller. We'll get his thoughts on that. Hour number 2 is coming up, and when we come back on the other side, we got to talk a little Antonio Brown. We got to talk some Deion Sanders. That news is just too funny. I got so many things to talk about next, right here on the Big O Show, live from Hialeah Park.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used.
50% less.
A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SCT, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
Start to smile. You now have time.
All right, welcome back as we start off hour number 3, and always appreciate the folks that stop by to say hi and talk a little bit. Thank you for those of you that always come by here at Hialeah Park to say hi. Very kind. Very
Once
kind
upon a time on Radio A.
Yeah. Yeah. Pierce Stone back in the day. All right. Anyway, welcome back. We take you to it'll be about 4:20, and then you can light it up after that. We should go till then. We got the Heat back in action tonight, taking on the Lakers at 10:30. Miami at 6-2. Wouldn't a win tonight be like that? A win against the Lakers. It doesn't beat the Dolphins beating the Jets. Okay. With that, we'll leave that one aside. That's the biggest, non-important win we've had in a while. Because it's not an important win because it's not going to lead you to the playoffs or anything. But it's important to us here in the heart because we hate the Jets. And the one thing I don't want to lose to the Jets. I don't like losing to the Bills and the Patriots either. But, man, I don't want to lose to the Jets. So I'm glad that they won.
But you know that Milwaukee, they suck, by the way.
Yes, they do. Now, the Heat beating Milwaukee and beating Houston. The Houston one, believe it or not, it would be in third place by miles. I have Milwaukee ahead, and if you beat the Lakers, that would be much sweeter. Why do I say that? Because Houston doesn't play defense. So as good as those two guys are, they will always give you the opportunity to beat them because their team is really not dedicated to the other side of the court. And if you can score, then you're going to be able to hang with Houston and maybe even beat them because, as you saw in that game, Miami made defensive plays. Houston did not. Miami had their hands in the passing lane. They stole the ball. They defended, actually. Houston did not. Milwaukee will defend. And the Greek is a guy that is a true leader, okay? He will set the example on both sides of the court for his team.
He doesn't take one play off.
Right. And Miami, you know that's the way of life, no matter who plays there. With the Lakers, look, I know they're not going to win tonight. Okay, I don't expect it. But they got a shot. What the hell? They could come in there and get hot. But it would be the sweetest win out of the three. It would. Because I am still part of Team Petty when it comes to LeBron. So any chance that you can to stick it to LeBron, go for it. I love it. Yes. Just like any time you can stick it to Adam Gase. I mean, the Dolphins didn't even beat down Adam Gase as much as I would love. I hope his sorry ass returns next year so Miami can beat them again. I hope he returns again the following year because as Miami gets better, the win difference will be bigger and bigger and bigger every single time with that clown. I hope the Jets are stupid enough to keep him around for years to come. Now, beating the Lakers tonight, I got to tell you, that would be just awesome. How many of us Heat fans will be screaming at 1 a.m. in our houses if the Heat win, and our wives are telling us, keep it down. Neighbor's going to hear you. Relax. Are you kidding me? The Heat just beat the Lakers. It would be awesome. It would be a great accomplishment. Plus, it would,
Is this a pots and pans?
No, that's not it. It's the NBA regular season. That doesn't ever call for that. But still, I would love to see that. That would be phenomenal tonight for that to happen. I just want, at least tonight, try to keep it competitive. At least. That's all I can ask for right now. If they beat them, then wow, I'm not going to complain. But I will complain or I will be bitching if it's just a flat-out blowout. That I don't want to see. That'll be depressing because I expect more out of this team. I'm at that point now. I expect the effort. I expect you to hang in there in the game. I'm not expecting you to win. Just like last night. I knew the Panthers had a shot to beat the Capitals, but I wasn't going to sit there and be shocked that they lost to the Capitals. Capitals are great. Panthers are not. Capitals are an elite team. Panthers are not. Capitals are an established team. Panthers are not. So it's unrealistic for me to sit there. It'd be silly. I'd be a blind-ass fan. Be all insulted that they lost to the Caps and be all bent out of shape. No, man, they're a better team. At least what I was proud of is they played a hell of a game, and they had a lead 3-1. And they took the lead 4-3, and then they tied it up at 4-4 and then won it in overtime. But that's the Capitals. Now, if that happens against Detroit, then we're pissed with good reason. But tonight, I got to tell you, a win against the Lakers, that would be absolutely phenomenal as a Heat fan. That would make me really, really happy. And then all of a sudden, your road trip becomes awesome. Seriously, I mean, it becomes an incredible road trip if you beat the Lakers. I believe they have the best record in the NBA. I'm pretty sure of that the Lakers come in with the best record in the NBA. Hey, listen, the Heat at 6-2 has got a pretty damn good record in this league too right now. Lakers are 6-1, and I think that's good for best in the league. I don't think there's anybody undefeated, correct? Yep, Lakers are the best in the West at 6-1, tied with Boston, actually. I forgot that Boston was 6-1. Those are the two best records in the league right now, Lakers, Boston. Funny how things have changed. No Kyrie, and you had Kemba. I was one of those believers that Kemba was a better fit and a better leader than Kyrie. Just saying. Brooklyn is where's Brooklyn at here in the standings? They're 3-4 with Kyrie. There you go. That's all. Interesting how things are working out a little better for the Celtics at this point in time. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, 786-322-1105. The other ways to reach out to us is on Twitter at Big O Show. Instagram also, Big O Radio Show. You can reach out to us right here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also send in any messages on the tube. Gus 1388 says, Tua has a tightrope procedure on his ankle. This type of surgery is supposed to prevent future high ankle sprains, which has been chronic in his career. I got to tell you something, dude. I don't believe that anything will prevent a high ankle sprain or an ankle sprain ever. Unless you have some kind of a brace that you put on that is going to keep it completely stiff on both sides and then also kill your mobility a little bit, maybe that'll save you. But if you land awkwardly, that ankle's going to give no matter what. It doesn't matter who you are. We're all susceptible to it. If you've played enough sports, you've had ankle sprains, you had high ankle sprains, because we've all had them. And to me, I don't believe that there's anything you can do to any type of ligament in your body that is going to prevent you from ever getting hurt again. Unless they can change your ligaments and make them into metal. And when they get to that point, please tell me. I'd like to change lots of mine since I'm falling apart already in my 50s. That would be fantastic. I'd like to change a lot of mine into nice steel springs. That'll be great. Come on. Give it to me. But at this point, I don't believe that there's a procedure, Gus, if that's what we can call you, that is going to prevent anything like that. And he's had them on both ankles. That's the other thing. That scares me. That makes me a little nervous with the kid. Love him as a passer. Wow, dude is deadly accurate. And he has got, it's a natural passing motion. He's got some athleticism back there. He's not Russell Wilson, but he can move around. He's a good athlete, not a great athlete. Russell Wilson's a great athlete. This guy's a good athlete back there. So that helps. But his accuracy is the one thing that really stands out to me. He is as consistent as you can find ever in college football. And that says a lot. That's where I don't get so hung up that he plays with a lot of great talent, because as long as you're accurate and consistent, I don't have a problem with you. But if you're injury prone, I have a major problem with you. That's where I start to kind of lose you as a fan of your ability if you can't stay healthy. 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the show. One guy is asking here. He just sent it in. This is Andy's no longer on with us here, Gyro. But he says, should I start Matt Ryan or Dak this week? I'm going to go with Dak. Okay? Ryan is coming back from an injury right now. I would not take the chance with Ryan at this point, even though, he can be very productive for you. I'm going to go Dak. So we'll send him that at this point. I'll stick with Dak. I think it's a pretty good option. Ooh, wait a minute. Hold on. Dak's got some injuries at the wide receiver. Might be an issue there. I got to look that up. I got to check that again, Gyro. Let me check that out, because I know that Cooper's banged up, and I'm not sure. I think he's out, actually. Yeah, I don't know if it's Cooper or the other kid. Now I'm forgetting. What's the name of the other kid that I'm thinking of now? I think, actually, you know what? This is not good radio. I'll figure it out after. I'll do it during a break for you. But I think they do have an issue at wide receiver, so I may have to tell you to go with Ryan, because that may be a problem for them. If it is, let me see here. Gallup was added Thursday to the injury report with a knee issue, but practiced in full. Amari Cooper has been diagnosed with a bruised knee and is expected to suit up for Sunday's game against the Vikings. Cooper missed Thursday's practice, but MRI revealed only a contusion. He's expected to practice on Friday at less than 100% for a tough matchup. Vikings are tough. But if you're going to get Amari, man, but here's the thing. They're both banged up. I don't know how limited that will be, and that will limit him. Yeah, Gallup banged up, and Cooper. I got to tell you know what? Change my mind. Go Matt Ryan. Yeah. Go Ryan. Too many injuries on the Dallas side. I think you gotta go this way just in case. Yeah, go that way, because Ryan, he should be good enough to hang in there for you, and he should be able to put up some decent numbers. So Ryan, there you go. There's my switch. How about that? All right. The other thing that we got to talk about is Antonio Brown. I don't know if you guys saw this. Antonio Brown, we talked about it yesterday, went on his whole tirade at the NFL, and then basically apologized for his tirade, which I think, and here's the interesting part, that a lot of there were reports already that several teams are interested in him. And Antonio Brown now, after going on the tirade of F the NFL, he puts out, I'm just very frustrated right now with the false allegations and slander to my name. Brown said on Twitter, I love football, I miss it. I just want to play, and I'm very emotional about that. I'm determined to make my way back to the NFL ASAP. Now, first of all, dude, you put yourself in this position, okay? You're the one that allegedly sexually assaulted a woman. You're the one that also did not pay a woman who did work for you. And you were also insulting to that woman by showing up naked, just covering your crotch. thinking that was going to turn her on to jump your bones and go to sleep with you, and she didn't want any part of you. She doesn't even want to sue you for the sexual conduct that you displayed. She just wants the money for the painting and for the painting you stole from her. And then all the other people that you owe money and have mistreated along the way. You're the guy. That's the problem with Antonio Brown. He's really good at laying. He's very Adam Gase-like. Adam Gase, that's all he does, is blames everybody else except himself. This idiot doesn't want to actually look in the mirror and say, man, I'm the problem. And if you're an NFL team, how can you still be interested in this guy when he is legitimately crazy? Right, let's not dance around this anymore. That guy's out of his mind.
Chucking furniture off the balcony.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that?
You act like an idiot in court. You're doing these kind of things. This is what crazy people do. You blow up, and then the next moment you're trying to say you're sorry. You know, it's what crazy people do.
Oh, do you really think he wrote that letter, the sorry letter, man?
No, of course not.
Who directed him to do that?
I don't know.
Maybe his agent?
Maybe. I don't know if
Was it Drew? Drew said, hey, come on, man, reel yourself in there,
Here's
buddy.
my problem with this. I even have to absolve Drew from all of this. And that's pretty hard because Drew is the king of the knuckleheads. I mean, nobody represents more morons than Drew Rosenhaus. No, seriously, he is the agent of the morons. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
If you have a low IQ, if you're an idiot, please sign up.
Now, Drew Rosenhaus is usually your agent. When you see a bad apple in the NFL, more often than not, it's Drew Rosenhaus' client. But here's the thing about this. I don't think anybody can reach this moron. Not an agent, not a friend of his, not a family member. This guy's too ignorant. And he's crazy. Let's just stop with all of this already. We're talking about a guy that is out of his mind. He feels he can sexually assault people. He can show up naked in front of anybody. He thinks he can act like however he wants in court. He thinks he can throw furniture off a 14-story balcony and almost kill a kid. He thinks he is Nico Toscani, above the law. He's above everything. And he acts like a crazy person because he is crazy. And if you're an NFL team, this is what you're going to bring in your locker room? A moron that's filming your team? Some guys are naked in the locker room with a stupid smile on his face? Crazy people do these things. Hey, listen, there are crazy people walking around all over the place. And they live in your neighborhood, and they work in your same jobs, and they're all over the place.
They're in the car next to you.
Not every crazy person is locked up inside a rubber room. There are people that are insane, and they're part of our society. He's one of them. You've heard of functioning alcoholic? This is a functioning crazy person. You don't do things like he does. And here's how you know you're crazy. That you do these things and you think that by following it up with just I'm sorry absolves you, and it erases everything, and everybody forgets about it, and everybody moves on. And nobody's moved on, and nobody's forgotten about it. Except for these alleged teams that were supposedly interested in him. And if you're still interested in him after the last 48 hours, then you've got to be the Bengals, and you've got to be the Jets, and you've got to be those perennial loser teams that just don't know what the hell to do. Jets do need a wide receiver. I mean, and look, you know what? If you go to the Jets I got a great idea. We can actually go to the operation table and we can put Antonio Brown on one table and Adam Gase on the other, and let's switch eyes. That way, the crazy guy can get the crazy eyes.
Hey, what about if he was to go to Cleveland?
Oh, wow. Can you imagine that? Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, and Jarvis Landry, and Baker Mayfield all on the same team. Oh, my Lord. Freddie Kitchens would have a heart attack within 2 weeks. That would be phenomenal. Be great. But I'm telling you, Jets is better. He needs to get the crazy eyes to go with the personality. That's good. Because Adam Gate's not crazy. He's just stupid. So we'll give him Antonio Brown's eyes. That's all. Imagine Antonio Brown walking around with Adam Gase's eyes. Then there's no doubt, right? You're just, okay, now he's legit crazy. Because he looks it and he acts it. No, but I'm serious. There is no doubt in my mind that Antonio Brown is not right in his mind at all. And yet people want to employ him. That's how desperate they are to win. You should be fired for that. Really. Because once it fails, it's like, okay, you see he's out the door. Why don't you just follow him? Go with him now. That kind of stuff. You could get away with it when you're the Patriots because you're the Patriots. Belichick can make those kind of mistakes. And even having said that, they did what they could, and then they got rid of the crazy guy. But there's no doubt in my mind when you do stuff like this, you're just completely out of your mind. Some folks are calling him a clown on the text machine. He's way beyond clown, man. Way beyond clown. All right, let's take a break. Brody Miller's going to join us. We've got a huge game tomorrow at 3:30. LSU is taking on Alabama. And we've got the two best quarterbacks, or two of the three best quarterbacks, or two of the best quarterbacks in college football taking the field. And Joe Burrow, Tua, and Brody's been covering Joe Burrow the last couple of years for The Athletic. He is the LSU beat writer. He will be at the game. He covers LSU on a daily basis. For you Dolphin fans out there, this is must-listen radio. Let's find out about Joe Burrow with a beat writer from LSU next.
Title includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodzie can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Coming to you live, baby, from Hialeah Park. We're in the second floor poker room. Folks are gambling, watching, lots of TVs. Actually, the replay of the Heat Suns game from last night is on, so some folks are watching that replay and they're watching. I think in the replay they win again. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't think they lose in the replay. I'm pretty sure of that.
Do we widen the margin of victory by chance?
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe even Jimmy Butler scores a little more.
Instead of just 4 in the second half, he gets 10 and has a nice 40.
You never know. It could happen. Massages here at the poker room. It's a beautiful thing. So come on out. And remember, we're out here every Friday from 1 to 4. Today we did noon to 4. Today we came in a little earlier than normal. We had so many guests and a bunch of things to talk about, like we're going to do right now with Brody Miller, who does an excellent job of covering LSU for The Athletic. And you can follow him on Twitter like I and so many others do at Brody A. Miller. Let's bring him aboard. Brody, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing? Do we have him? Wait a minute. Hold on. How are we doing? There we go. Brody, you there? Is it potted up? Is it open? I'm not hearing anything. Technical snafus. It happens in radio. Let's see. These broadcasts sometimes. He's trying to work through it. Let's see now. Brody, you there?
Yeah, I can't really hear anything he's saying.
There we go. I got you now. You got me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
All right, beautiful, my man. Thank you for joining us, as always, and you can follow him on Twitter at Brody A. Miller. All right, Brody, let's how's the buzz right now for this game? Because I would imagine it's got to be at an all-time high for LSU fans.
Yeah, it's definitely an all-time high. It's this is always a fascinating week in Baton Rouge because it's kind of like self-hate week for people around this campus. It's this week where everybody's kind of prepared to have their heart broken, and they kind of operate this whole week of like trying to believe, but also just assuming it's going to end really badly. But this season is a little bit different because I always talk about the way I see a huge difference in the way this team carries itself compared to last year, for example, where I think last year and even around the team, around the campus, it was kind of there's a scrappy upstart who's surprising people, right? They weren't supposed to be a top 10 team, and they found a way to get to 10 wins and be a top 10 team last year. This year, it's very different. It's much more of LSU actually believes it's right there. It believes it's the best team in the country. It's gone up against 3 top 10 teams and won. So I think this time it's no longer kind of a fear of big bad Bama. It's more of all right, we actually have a chance of doing that. But like I said, there's still a little mixture around campus of just kind of hatred and knowing that things might go very badly.
Brody, from an outsider's point of view, it's what we would think, and I'll just put it like this. It's really all about the quarterback, Joe, because normally from an outsider's point of view, we look at LSU and we go, man, those people always have great talent, but they can't score with a fistful of dollars in a whorehouse. That's the problem with LSU. They can never put up any points. They put their defense, which is always great every year, in a position that they've got to be, perfect. And like last year, a 9-6 game, that's kind of what we expect from an Alabama-LSU game. Really low scoring because LSU has to play that game because they don't have the guy. Well, in comes the guy. And when you have the guy, it changes everybody's attitude and it raises their confidence level. This is all about Joe Burrow, that everybody now knows LSU can go out there and score some points.
Yeah, I think it is a good chicken or the egg debate because I think, Joe, for example, Joe Burrow was here last year, right? And I think that it's still a bit of a huge systematic cultural shift that, yes, Burrow's a big part of it, but also, just LSU coaches for the past several decades, they don't want to take risks. They didn't want to do any of that. They wanted to control the ball because they knew they had this defense and they were going to win ugly, and that's how LSU did it. So it's Burrow, but it's also Ed Ogeron saying this is what we're going to do. It's the hiring of Joe Brady to bring this kind of system in. It's all these pieces coming together. But, I'm not going to deny for a second that Joe Burrow is the piece that makes this all work. For example, I think Joe Brady's offensive scheme would have worked eventually anywhere. I think Joe Brady's that good of a coach. But do I think LSU would have been a top 3 offense in all of college football like it is this year without Joe Burrow? Not a chance. The only reason it's working this fast, this quickly, this efficiently is because Joe Burrow is just one of those kind of guys. And if you talk, first off, he's a good leader, right? Second off, he's a really smart guy. But the thing I always point to is that if you talk to people around the program, this whole offseason, it was almost like he was the third offensive coordinator in that room because, when it was Steve Ensminger and Joe Brady are the 2 guys leading this offense, but they were working with Joe Burrow every step of the way. They wouldn't put anything into that playbook unless Joe Burrow agreed with it, if he felt comfortable with it. And then Joe Burrow took everything he learned, and he was basically the extra coach to all the players. He was the guy. They had these players-only throwing sessions all season, and he's the one who was working with them every day, getting timing down, teaching them this new offense. So it is kind of this perfect storm that came together to create this kind of juggernaut offense.
All right, so let me ask you something. Brody Miller, by the way, joining us, LSU beat writer for The Athletic. Where are you, my man, with Joe? Is he the real deal? Does he still look like a one-year wonder to you? Does he look like an NFL caliber quarterback? Where are you right now after watching him for the last year?
It's a great question, and I guess what I'll go back to is last season was really interesting, right? Because he did not look great statistically. He didn't look pretty by any means. And I will never in a million years pretend that I saw this coming. I'm not claiming I did. But what I kept having to defend to my readers and whatnot last season was, guys, this offense was a mess last year around him. He had a terrible offensive line. He had a scheme that didn't make sense. They were sending 1 or 2 receivers out for routes, so he had both no pass protection and nobody to throw to. He actually made do with very little. This team won 10 games with a very flawed offense, and I think so much of that credit goes to Joe Burrow. And when people talk about this massive transformation, and by the way, it is one, I'm not arguing that, but I would go back to the last 4 games of last season. The last 4 games of last season, he was completing 67% of his passes. He ran for like a few hundred yards. He threw for, I think, 300 yards a game. Right at the end of the season, something clicked and they figured out how to use him, and he started tearing it up against Texas A&M and UCF, some of those games. So that's the other thing I'd say is that I think he's always had it, and I think if you talk to people at Ohio State, they'll also say that he was even with Dwayne Haskins. Like, it was not clear who they were going to start. That competition was going to keep going into fall camp. So I think it's always been there, which is why I am saying that I do buy into it. I still think Tua should be the number 1 quarterback in the draft, but I think Joe Burrow has proven to me he should be number 2. And the main reason I'll say that is because arm strength is the most overrated quality in a quarterback these days. Yes, if you have it, that's awesome. I'm not arguing that. But in the modern NFL, it's all about processing. It's all about making the right decision. It's about accuracy. That's why Drew Brees is the best. That's why Peyton Manning's one of the best. Tom Brady, they know make the right decision like clockwork every single time, and they hit their spot. It's not about some crazy Patrick Mahomes throw. Obviously, that doesn't hurt. But So that's why I believe that Joe Burrow is kind of the real deal. That's a long answer for you.
No, this is the listen, dude. You're in Miami. You're in South Florida right now, so a lot of fans are glued to the radio or to the internet right now, going, "Wait, let me hear what this guy has to say." You watch him every day. What is it that you like about him as a quarterback, as a leader, as a player, as a winner? Because obviously he's been all of that for LSU.
Yeah, and obviously I just broke down some of the things football-wise, but I'm glad you asked that because, if you start talking about that discussion of, who goes first in the draft, and I'm not a draft expert, will never claim to be, but the reason I think he's going to go really high, and the reason is because it just takes one GM, right? And you know as well as I that sometimes when it gets to deciding on a quarterback, it is not as simple for these GMs as who's the best player on the football field. They're looking for that extra something, right? They're looking for that Baker Mayfield quality of the guy who's going to take charge, that guy with that bravado who can lead a locker room, those kind of things. And they can be very corny. I'm not arguing. I mean, I always kind of cringe when I go on these rants, but it's Joe Burrow is that guy. He really, truly is. It's kind of absurd the legends he started to build around this town the past year and a half because he's the guy who played the Alabama game last year with a separated shoulder. He's the guy who refuses to slide and runs over linebackers, and he's this really cocky guy, but not in a talkative way. But he firmly believes he's the best quarterback in the country, even last year when everybody didn't think he was any good. And the story goes that, when on college game day before the Texas game, they were watching TV and they saw, the Texas band on game day shoot a cannon through his jersey, and he's watching on TV, he turns to one of his offensive linemen and says, "All right, I'm going to throw for 400 yards on these guys." Or in the Vanderbilt, and by the way, he threw 471 yards. Or in the Vanderbilt game, he took a late hit on the sideline, and we saw him kind of shouting something to the sideline, and we didn't know what it was. Well, I found out a few weeks later he was holding up his hand with 4 fingers and saying, "I'm going to throw for 400 yards on you guys." So he's not a talkative, problem level cocky, but he's that really kind of healthy, really just kind of, great quarterback style confidence. And I think he has that extra drive, that extra obsessive. For example, he's a grad student. He's not taking any real classes right now. He's just, his entire life is football. So I think he has all those personalities where this locker room, they weren't sure on him right away. I mean, he's a weird dude. It's worth starting there. He's a quirky, kind of weird personality, but he won everybody in that locker room over because he just is that kind of, that savage kind of personality that's easy for a team to get behind.
So he's not a weird dude like a loner or anything like that.
No.
Okay, all right. So he's, but weird
he's a very out there thinker. Yeah, he wears these weird Mickey Mouse shirts and he's obsessed with Matthew Dellavedova for some reason. And at one point he bleached his hair blonde in college. He just kind of does some weird things, and he has these really out there thoughts. He likes thinking about science and space and all this stuff. It's that kind of weird.
Okay. All right. I like that. Brody Miller, by the way, LSU beat writer for The Athletic, joining us here. You can follow him, by the way, on Twitter at Brody A. Miller. When you walk into that locker room, how badly can you tell that these guys want this game? Because obviously this has been their roadblock for years now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's pretty big, but it's always tricky trying to maneuver these things because obviously so much of it, especially with a college program, is kind of media training. What they're saying to us is very, very trained. But I do, like I said at the beginning of this, I do sense a difference. I think last year there was this kind of eagerness. There was this, they surprised everybody. They were scrappy. They were supposed to be a back-end top 25 team, and Edo was supposed to get fired, and they won 10 games and surprised people. So it was kind of this us against the world thing. And this year it's just kind of different. It's a little more downplayed. It's a little more we think we're that good. And I'm not saying they're going to win, but I don't think they're scared this year, which I think last year, and I don't blame them. It's the thing that I think every team in the country deals with when they play Alabama. But it's less of that. It's more we think we're the best team in the country. We think we can win this game if we play our football. And that's just I think that's a change. I don't think you've seen LSU in the past few years. And we'll see if it works. We'll see if that does the trick. And I'm not saying it means much, but it is a different vibe.
Does Joe Burrow think he's the best quarterback in the country?
Absolutely. Oh, we talked to him in the summer, and we started talking about this new offense, and we're thinking LSU might finally pass a bit more, maybe start scoring 30 points a game or so. Good for them. And he's like, no, we're gonna score 50, 60 points a game. And we all kind of laughed at him, like, all right, man. But he said it really confidently. And then the first time they scored 50 or 60 points, he looked at us and said, told you so. And then, after the Texas game, when that was his big coming out party, right? It's kind of an announcement to the country. I asked him after the game, like, hey, how does it feel to just kind of prove and show and kind of solidify that you're one of those guys? And in front of a whole press conference, he just kind of looks at me and says, I always knew I was that quarterback. It just took a while for other people to notice. And there's a way to say that that's not like a rude way. And there's a way to say that's very rude, and there's a way to say that it's just kind of matter of fact. And that's how he meant it. So I think he has all the respect in the world for Tua, and he's admitted that to us this week, but he believes he's the best quarterback in the country.
Does he believe that if he gets this, he gets that title over Tua?
I think he's probably trying to ignore those things, but I bet that's there. I mean, I think you have to. Let's put it in the most practical terms, right?
Yeah.
That the quarterback, the battle for best quarterback in the country is also this season the Heisman race, right? It is pretty much that. So I think he knows that if he wins this game, he's done it all. He's probably going to win the Heisman if he wins this game. He's going to do something that's never really been done. Like you said, if he wins this game, it is proof that LSU, of all schools, has finally found an elite quarterback. They finally took down Alabama. Aside from a championship, he will have brought everything that everybody's been clamoring for in Baton Rouge. So, I mean, I don't know if he's thinking about things like, am I proving I'm the best? But I think he knows that if he wins this game, he's checked every box.
I would imagine that Coach O is, he fills up that notebook for you, right? He seems to me to be a writer's dream to cover because he just seems like a character and a guy that leaves some meat on the bone and understands what you guys are doing. Am I right or am I completely wrong here?
So it's a good question, and you get a little bit of both. I think you're definitely going to have some moments with Ed that you're not going to have with many other coaches around the country. I've covered both the Mississippi SEC schools. I've covered Big Ten schools. You don't see that kind of character often, but it is funny when you're around him every single day like we are, and we talk to him like multiple times a week. He's not quite that guy all the time. Like, for example, our press conference on average, I think you'll probably have one really interesting moment from every press conference, one kind of classic Coach O moment, but a lot of the times he's pretty straightforward. He's pretty, down to earth. It just all sounds funnier to the average person because of how he talks. But if you just boil down what he's saying, he's actually, and when you're around it all the time, that novelty wears off, and you realize he's actually just normal is not the right word, but a relatively normal guy who's just kind of having a conversation with you.
All right, so Brody, you tell me, my brother, what's going to happen at 3:30 tomorrow between these two teams? What's the prediction machine say for Mr. Miller?
This might be a cop-out, but I subscribe to the belief that I don't think you can predict LSU to win this game until they finally prove they're capable of it. I really just, if you're a bettor, for example, I just think that's not a smart bet until they prove it. I think, history just says Saban knows what he's doing in this game. That staff knows what they're doing. You have even a hobbled Tua is as good of a quarterback as you're ever going to find. I think you have to go Bama by, 4 or 5 points in this one.
You got Bama. All right, interesting stuff. Hey, Brody, thank you for taking some time, my man. I really appreciate it. I know that Miami fans, I don't think there's ever been a college football game in history that is going to draw more Miami Dolphin fans around the world than this one at 3:30, dude, because they're – now the funny part is they may end up winning too many games to even have a shot at either guy, much less one of those guys.
True.
You know what I mean? That's how crazy the NFL is. That's how bad the NFL is. Everybody thought that Miami would be the worst team, and now we're finding out there's actually some other teams that are worse than Miami, which is crazy stuff. But your game tomorrow is probably going to have 462 Dolphin assistant coaches and scouts there. And then, of course, every Dolphin on the planet will be watching that.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be the whole world will be watching this one.
It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun. Brody, enjoy yourself, my man. This is one of those good moments for writers to get to cover these kind of moments, man. It's fun stuff, man. Enjoy it.
I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You got it, my man. There you go. Brody Miller from The Athletic. He covers LSU on a daily basis, and look, he's a big Joe Burrow believer. Now he's not picking LSU to win; he's picking Alabama to win it all. Interesting.
You know what?
LSU has the better resume.
But like he said, until you get over that hump, man,
Right.
you can't bet against Alabama.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll happen because I don't think he's going to be around by that time. But when the Dolphins are good 4 or 5 years from now, let's just say if the Patriots were still the Patriots with Brady, which, again, I don't think it's going to happen. By the time the Dolphins are good again, I think either Belichick's coaching somebody else or he's retired. I think he's going to be coaching somebody else. And I don't know if it'll be a good quarterback or whatever, but we'll get to that point of, hey, are we better than the Patriots? And you won't believe it until you believe it. And it'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. And we're gonna have to cross. It's like the Panthers last night. They're not better than the Capitals. You can't expect them to be.
No.
Hopefully, in another year or two, that they have now matured all together and playing at an elite level. Maybe at that point that they're beating the Capitals on a consistent basis, you could say they've arrived. They are better at this point. So I can understand the way Brody is thinking at this point.
We're you know what?
It's hard to feel it's hard for anybody in the SEC to feel you're better than Alabama.
Look, we're on the same floor, we're in the hallway, and we're knocking on the door. With the record of the teams we have played and beaten, and the record that we have, the Panthers are right there. But like last night shows, we're still outside the room. We're not in there yet.
No, they're not even. They're not.
Hey,
there.
you know what was?
They're not in that neighborhood yet.
You know what was one stat that I remember hearing about this week? 78-4 at Alabama the last 10 years. 78-4. I think they've won 31, 32, 30, somewhere in that area in the SEC at home in a row.
I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised.
What's your gut telling you, man?
I'm picking Bama.
Yeah,
I'm still picking Bama.
It's
still picking Bama when it's all said and done.
You know what it is? They are so exceptional at every position. They only talk about this, they talk about that, but man, they got great defensive linemen. They have great linebackers. Their secondary, we see the NFL's littered with safeties and corners from Alabama. And Nick and Saban, bottom line, the guy knows how to work secondary. He is a guru. He's awesome. Then you look at the receivers, their offense, running backs. They have no deficient. Nowhere are they weak.
Nope.
They are strong and exceptional at every spot.
All right, if you guys want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, we thank Brody Miller for joining us. Next up will be Chris Long. He will give us his picks at 3:30 at winwoodsports.net. At 4 o'clock, Armando and Emilio from Dolphins Nation, Mexico will be joining us. So we'll have a little fun with Armando and Emilio at that time. I got a bunch of things still I want to talk about here on
Let me ask you the question in a different way. Who are you pulling for?
Oh, LSU for
exactly,
sure.
Exactly.
LSU.
Exactly.
LSU. But there's a lot more, there's a deeper layer to all of this because if LSU wins, why did they win? Why did Alabama fail and did Tua fail? And like I said in prior segment that we were talking about this matchup is going to change your mind about something. It might be Joe Burrow and it might be Tua. I don't know. It might be both because they're both going up against good defenses. And if they both fail against good defenses in a big moment, it's not going to be good also. And then you're going to be saying, Chase Young. Neither guy's convincing me. Go Chase Young because that convinces me. And then we don't even know if Chase Young fits what Miami wants to do because they want to run kind of a 3-4 hybrid type, and they probably need an end that could cover too, and maybe a guy that's more of an outside linebacker. I don't know if that's Chase Young. Chase Young kind of looks like he's a standard 4-3 defensive end. It's kind of what he looks like to me. I got to ask the pros. I got to ask them what they think about him and if he's a guy that can kind of move around a little bit. But in that scheme, they're not going to pay a notice in New England. They don't really pay defensive ends.
The only defensive
the
lineman,
outside linebacker, yes.
You know what? The
middle linebacker, yes.
The only defensive lineman they really paid was Will Fork.
Right. Well, that's tackle.
Exactly.
Not
that's
end,
the only.
But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The only defensive lineman that they paid and held on to for years was him.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like you said, revolving door.
Right. And even Seymour, they got rid of him because they did not want to keep him around, and that guy was a hell of a defensive end. I just don't think in that scheme, I just don't see them keeping or going for Young. I got to ask. I need to find out more about Young and what kind of player he is to see if he even fits what Miami does.
You know why
these things are. It's really easy for us to just throw names out, but we also have to see their skill sets, and then you have to see what you have and what your coaching staff is coaching, and can they actually
what type of kid
use this kind of player? And I don't know, because you would have to be more like Jason Taylor to play in this system, because Jason had the athleticism that he could play end and he could be an outside rushing linebacker if he felt like it, and he could rush the passer and he could cover and he could play against the run and he can intercept the ball and he can bat down balls.
He could be upright or have his hand in the dirt.
Does whatever the hell he wants to do, because Jason Taylor is Jason Taylor. Now, I don't know if Chase Young is that guy. I'm not sure yet. I have to find out.
You know
if he is.
The other thing is the personal stuff. Is this guy a football player? Does he love playing football, or is he?
No, I don't know.
A go-out guy, you know. But these are all things that we need to know.
Yeah, but that's everybody. That's a general question for everybody. This guy clearly is a badass. Now you got to find out, does his skill set fit what you want? Plus, I don't believe the Dolphins will draft a guy like that high. I just don't. But
no,
I don't. I haven't seen the guy drop back in coverage and do all those things.
The versatility.
I haven't seen that. I don't think he can play outside linebacker, and that's probably they would probably get an end that is more about holding the point, because it's the linebackers that are flowing and making all the plays.
Yep.
And really, your ends in a 3-4 aren't. Pass rushing is not really the priority in a 3-4 for your ends. It's needed, but it's not your number one thing.
Yeah, you got to basically take up that spot.
Yeah,
and maybe take on an extra blocker, take on the guard, make the guard have to come to you.
And holding the edge for the run and all that other stuff.
Right.
That's really what it's all about. That's why I'm not sure that Chase actually fits what they're going to do here in the long term. But, again, we got to find that out. It's just like last year, Lamar Jackson was not a fit for Adam Gase. Why? Because he's a running quarterback, and he didn't want to coach that. And that's why he was passed up in the entire first round. Because nobody was willing to change the entire offense for him except for the Baltimore Ravens. They were the ones that were saying, okay, we'll draft him and we will design the offense around his skill set. So we have to call the offense specifically for his skill set. They were the only ones willing to do that. And these are things that you have to know about the players in order to see if they fit you draft Jamar Fletcher, but then you didn't think about it. He's a zone corner and you play man on man. How does that work? And it didn't work out, right? It didn't work out. He had a long career, played in Detroit for many years. He was all right as a dime guy, but he was in a zone scheme, and that's where he fit. But in Miami, you play man and you draft a guy that's zone, that's because the people in the front office thought that they could convert him to man, and he didn't have the hips, he didn't have the movement to play man. You had to play him in zone, and then you ended up paying the price. So it ends up becoming a ruined first-round pick. It's very important to know what the player does and what your scheme is all about.
Does his skill set...
It's really easy and lazy to throw out Chase Young, but have you looked at what the Dolphins are trying to do? Are they really, if it's Patriot-like, that's not really the norm. That's all I'm saying.
Let me ask you in reference to Burrow. Obviously, Auburn always has a good defense, specifically their defensive line. Did that kid score any points with you, that Auburn game? What you saw?
What was it again?
The Burrow kid from LSU.
Oh, yeah.
The game against Auburn. I mean, like he showed us something.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Oh, he's shown me something all year. He's looked good. I've grown to like him now, almost as much as Tua. Almost. Tua scares. Well,
if there wasn't the injury factor,
that's the
Tua would still be.
Tua's still the guy, but the injury thing is still bothering me right now with Tua. And I want to see.
Is it enough that Burrow's passed him?
No, not yet. Not for me. Well,
okay.
And this offseason, I'll find out.
Right.
And if guys tell me, certain things that will sway my opinion one way or the other, and then you'll know where we lean.
You know what it is, man?
As we make our
not
trips.
just one ankle, man. It's both. It's both.
Yep.
That's it. Like.
Oh, hey. It's 3:00. It's 3:02. We're late. Let's go. Let's take a break. We'll come back on the other side. Give us a couple minutes. We'll start off the fourth hour of the program here at 3:30. Chris Long will be joining us from winwithsports.net. We'll have a little fun with him. We'll get the picks. At 4 o'clock, we'll talk with Armando and Emilio from Dolphin Nation, Mexico. And we'll have some fun. Those guys are going to come out to Vegas, too. Vegas is going to be the ultimate blast. All right, let's take a break. Back with hour number 4, live from Hialeah Park.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
No one expects to get into a crash, but I expect you to go to accidentlawfirm.com if you do. Make sure when hiring a driver, you go through a rideshare app so that you can be covered by the insurance, which can be up to $1 million whether you're a passenger or a driver. In other words, don't try to save a few bucks by paying cash instead of going through the app. I'm attorney Bobby Nunez from Nunez Law in Miami, and we're here to help you through the process. Go to accidentlawfirm.com for a free consultation from me, Bobby Nunez. That's accidentlawfirm.com.
try to light up the sun. Burning light, burning white heat, like wildfire, sweat and fever, my body screams. Disintegrates in the heat. Our love is the flame that keeps on burning. I love to feel the rain in the summertime. Oh, I love to feel the rain on my burn at the stake on a bed of fire. My body rises, taking me higher. My love's desire is pure ascension fire. My love is the flame that keeps on burning. Love to feel the rain in the summertime. Oh, love to feel the rain on my face. Love to feel the rain in the summertime. Oh, love to feel the rain on my
All right, we are back. Love to feel the rain in the summertime. That was such a great concert. I saw these guys, Modern English, and The Alarm, Modern English, and Gene Loves Jezebel. And we saw them over at Club Space, I think it's called. They call it something else.
It's still Space.
But is it called Space for that night? I don't know. Whatever.
It's still Club Space.
It is Club Space?
That's
I don't know how they
international.
do-
It's Club Space. There's a few of them around the world.
Oh, okay.
You don't know EDM, but
Right.
situations such, yes.
So they
And
don't.
Miami is
They don't rename
famous.
it for anything else. Okay.
No, there's no reason to, man. It's known internationally around the world.
Okay. I didn't know if it was called something else on a concert night because it's not really a club that night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it was great. He blew me away. It was just, he sounded so good. Sounded great. His voice was still super powerful. The Alarm was awesome. In fact, I was wearing my Alarm shirt the other day that I got from that concert.
Hey, I got to tell you, I just saw winter is here tomorrow, brother.
Winter?
Yes, our high is only going to be 79, not 80.
Oh, there you go. Crazy. All right, if you want to get in on the accidentlawfirm.com text line, it's really simple, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the show, the Heat, after beating the Suns last night, we'll take on the Lakers tonight at 10:30. We've got the Panthers in action tomorrow. They're on the road to take on the Islanders. It'll be a 1 o'clock game. That's interesting. A 1 o'clock start on Saturday and a 1 o'clock start on Sunday, too. FYI, audio on first hour podcast segments is inaudible, static, and cannot be heard. Okay. That was today. Might want to check that. Okay.
I'm on it right now.
Yeah, there we go. Same for second hour today, too. Interesting. Okay, we will check it out and see if that's the tooth on everything else. I don't know. Second hour, I can play it right from here from the SoundCloud actually, which is a beautiful thing. All right. Oh wait, I didn't have the volume up. Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, that's how it is nowadays.
Yeah, it has some weird stuff. It has some weird sounds on it. I don't know. You don't hear it? You don't hear it on yours? Okay. We'll check it out. We will fix it. We will correct it and load it up and all that good stuff. And get it going for you there. All right, A.J. Green suffered a setback to his injured ankle. He is out indefinitely, ended up getting swelling in his surgically repaired left ankle. What was I telling you yesterday? I was telling you yesterday that the best thing that A.J. Green does is maybe have a little bit of a setback and, you know, go and take care of business, and you're a free agent at the end of the year. So why not just do that instead? You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on there. And well, I'm not. You know what? I shouldn't assume that. Maybe, unfortunately, he did have a setback. But the best thing for AJ Green is to just worry about your rehab for the rest of the year. And now having this swelling, maybe they just officially put you on the IR and you're done for the year. And your career is done with Cincinnati, and you can move on from those losers, and you gave them 8 years for no reason at all except for whatever money you made. That's it, if you're A.J. Green. It's got to be so sad that when you get drafted, it says the Cincinnati Bengals. Because it's basically telling you, hey, kid, welcome to football, but you've got no choice at ever being anything great because your owner will never allow you to be great. He'll never spend money. He'll never be committed. He's actually the original tanker. He's the active tanker in the NFL. All these other morons and fools that talk on radio, that write, that talk on TV, and they wasted all this time talking about the Dolphins tanking when it wasn't even close to being accurate. And meanwhile, we just overlooked Mike Brown, the guy that lives as a tanker his entire life. That guy. Come on. So, A.J. Green, buddy, this is the best thing that can happen to you. Work on your rehab, just like I said yesterday, except we didn't have this setback then. This is it's kind of like the Chase Young thing. If he really is suspended and if he doesn't come back, it's actually a blessing in disguise for him. It's the best thing that can happen to him. I get it. Some of you, well, you could win a national title. Yeah, whatever. That guy wants money, and that guy wants to play in the NFL. That's what he wants. You don't get any money for the national title in college. Yes, it's great. It's a nice personal accomplishment, but you could also be Fagan for the Canes and blow out your knee in a bowl game. Okay? Good thing is he was still able to have a solid career in the NFL. Back in a day when a knee injury was crippling, because that's when Fagan had it for UM back in those days. Chase Young could end up suffering an injury that could cost him his career, that could cost him a lot of money in the draft status, whatever. This is the best thing. A.J. Green, best thing. Take it off. Take it easy. Relax. Enjoy life. That's what it's all about. What happened?
Give me 1 minute. I'm going to pull the chip out of the board. It's the best. Yeah, I want to get it right for these guys.
Give us 1 minute, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do something technical to fix the technical issues.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit. Offers end 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SCT, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
All right, we're back. The other story that is kind of interesting out there is Deion Sanders, now rumored to go to FSU, or not rumored to go to FSU, but FSU could be interested in Deion Sanders, which to me, that is an absolutely crazy story. And this happens with fans all the time. You guys and some of you ladies out there, you fall in love with your former player and you think that just because they were a great player, it's going to make them an automatic.
Marino would be the greatest thing to be in the front office.
Yes, exactly. So it would be one of those deals, and you suckers fall for it all the time. And if you look around, most great players never really become great executives or great coaches. Sometimes it'll happen every once in a while. Lynch is on his way in San Francisco. Elway looks like he got a little lucky with Peyton Manning, but he's now in the hot seat because he can't find a quarterback, the position he played in. But more often than not, they fail like Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and I can go on and on and on and on and talk about all the different great players that cannot be coaches. Very few coaches are ex-great players. And Deion Sanders, I don't know who was the initial person who reported this or anything along those lines, but this is not a guy that I believe will have, if he would get that job, he would do it at such a half-ass level that it would be a joke. Okay? Would be a joke. And he has dealing with the kids nowadays too, that he would have to deal. He's not going to have patience with that, with these millennials that change their mind every 2 minutes and things like that.
He's about flash and show and all that, and you know, the work that needs to be done.
I got you. Listen, with Deion, it's more about flash than anything else. It's crap. It's neon Deion. He was a great player. He's not going to be a great recruiter. He's not going to be patient with these kids. He doesn't know how to coach up all these kids. He's never done it. How's he going to build a staff? What's he going to do? Go get a bunch of his ex-friends? Yeah, I'm telling you, it'll become an absolute joke if you bring in Deion Sanders. Hey, look, I'm a UM fan. If you want to keep Florida State down, go ahead. Fine with me. Manny Diaz will run circles around him. Great. Because the place will be a joke. Most great players expect the same from everybody else they coach, and that's why they struggle with coaching, because they think everybody can do what they used to do. And there's a reason why you're great, because very few people can do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Well, for Deion, this, and I don't know if he's even interested. I don't even know if he's the one that, like, floated this out there or something. I have no idea how this whole thing developed. But I saw it this morning, and all I did was laugh. Bob Stoops was the rumored guy. Now it's Dion. Here's the story, okay? Florida State can now get back to the business of finding a replacement after they dismissed Willie Taggart. Stoops' brother, former FSU defensive coordinator and current Kentucky head coach Mark Stoops, has been mentioned as a potential candidate, as has Iowa's Matt Campbell and Memphis's Mike Norvell. Those the latters, too, have no connections to the Seminoles football program. One name that surfaced overnight in connection to the opening does. Ian Rappaport, NFL Network analyst and Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, has emerged as a candidate for the Florida State head coaching job. Sources tell me and Mike Garafolo a fascinating situation could unfold. Okay? Now, the writer's note says, I checked and rechecked and double-checked my double-check to ensure that wasn't a parody account, which is true because it looks so funny. That's right, Deion Sanders, the College Football Hall of Famer who was an All-American defensive back for the Seminoles, is apparently in the mix to replace Taggart. Last January, it was reported that there was mutual interest between Sanders and Taggart in the former joining the latter's first FSU staff as defensive backs coach, although that never came to fruition. Now, seeing Deion Sanders do D-backs coach, I can see that as a trial type thing for Deion because you're only coaching a position. And you don't have to have the crazy dedication that you need for a head coach. You realize you have to live it, eat it, and breathe it if you're a head coach. You barely have an off season. And to think that Deion is going to go to FSU, change his entire lifestyle to be a head coach, it's laughable. It just is. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like some of you out there that thought Marino was going to do it. And I told you guys over and over and over and over again, there is no way Dan Marino would ever become a general manager. Because Dan Marino lives a great life. Why would he want to ruin his life by becoming the general manager of the Dolphins? You have no life. Now you got to live it, eat it, and breathe it all day long. That's nuts. He's already got it set. He's already a god here. All he can do is ruin it by failing. And then it's the whole thing of, yeah, great player, but man, did you see what he did as a GM? He was terrible. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need people walking up to him, telling him how to make picks and who to pick and why did he pick this guy and why did you make this mistake or that mistake. Marino doesn't need that crap. Nor does Marino, in his heart of hearts, want to work like a general manager. Are you kidding me? Work 100 and some hours a week? Always be on call for every single problem that any player could possibly have? Oh, please. But this happens all the time with fans. I don't know what it is about you guys, but you do this all the time to yourselves. And again, I kept warning you and warning. And Marino tried it, right? It lasted like 10 hours. He realized that he wasn't going to have a damn life, which he has a really good one right now. Where he's at right now is perfect. He consults with the Dolphins. He consults with the quarterbacks. He talks with coaches. They ask him a question, whatever, and then he goes home. And if he doesn't want to come in the building, he doesn't have to. And he can show up whenever he wants. He can leave whenever he wants. He can go on vacation whenever he wants. And then he has whatever minor responsibilities that he does for the team. A face. That's what he needs to be nowadays. But some of you, you get this, you fall in love with, because you love him as a player, so now you want him to make the transformation. I kept warning you guys over and over and over again. That guy's not a GM. And nor does he want to be really a GM deep down in his heart. He probably did those 10 hours because they talked him into it. And then he realized, he goes, man, forget this. There's no way I'm doing this. And Deion Sanders, same thing. There's no way Deion Sanders at this point in his life is going to find the work ethic in his body to be a head coach in college football. Just like Marino. Marino's not going to dial up the work ethic you need to be a general manager. It's not that he can't do it. He won't do it. Because it's insane at this point in his life. He made his life. Why would he want to ruin it? Because there's a good chance you do know that all it's going to do is create heartache for you. Very little happiness as a head coach. You win, and then after the win, you celebrate, but then you got to keep winning again after that. It's happiness or misery, right? That's the saying. And there's a lot of misery as a coach and general manager and very little happiness. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for Deion Sanders. One, he can't do it anyway. And two, it's not worth it for him. Just like Marino. One, he was never going to dedicate himself to being a general manager. And two, he's not suited for it. And neither is Deion Sanders to be a head coach of a college football program. Are you kidding me? That's insulting. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, we got Dolphins and Colts this Sunday. And Brissett continues to practice, by the way, even on a limited basis. He'll play. He'll be playing on Sunday. Looks like he dodged a bullet from a serious injury over the weekend. So he'll end up playing, and we'll see if Miami can go out there and put up a respectable showing. The Colts are a good team. This is going to be a hell of a test for them because the Colts have a good offensive line. And I will say this about Brissett. He has turned out to be a better quarterback than I expected. I thought at best Brissett was a game manager, facilitator type. He's shown a little better than that already at this point. Kudos to Frank Reich, who clearly is a awesome quarterbacks coach, because he made Andrew Luck. Well, Andrew Luck had his best year ever last year under Frank Reich. And now Jacoby Brissett is playing his best football. Hell, the Eagles haven't played their best football since Frank Reich left them. Maybe it's Frank Reich that deserves a lot of love. Because you got to admit, it's impressive the way that man has handled everything with the Indianapolis Colts. And even the quarterback situation. That transition, being blindsided by the retirement, all of that. He handled it like a champ. And they looked prepared for this, which is weird. Nobody's prepared for your franchise quarterback to retire. You had a guy that people like me thought, just a backup, at best game manager. They felt he had franchise material in him that he can be a good quarterback. And I'm not saying he's great or anything, but he's definitely developed into a good quarterback. All right, let me tell you a little bit about Toyota of Hollywood. And they've got a big sale going on right now, folks, where you can save up to 50% from the new price on their 2019 models on the model changeover event sale going on right now at Toyota of Hollywood. Excuse me, they got over 1,500 Toyotas in stock right now, and you can get special introductory savings on 2020 models, and this is your last chance on savings on all remaining 2019 models. Heck, you know what? You can buy any new Toyota, and they're going to make your payments until 2020, and let me tell you something. It's really easy to find. 1841 North State Road 7, just a couple blocks north of that big, beautiful guitar at the Hard Rock right off of the Turnpike. All right, when we come back, Chris Long, winwithsports.net, is going to join us. We'll have some fun with Chris. We'll get his picks in college football, in the NFL, next.
Thinking about buying or refinancing a home? Act now. Home values are ticking up. Don't put off making a move any longer. Call Michael Kodsey now at Choice Mortgage Bank, 561-441-2730, while mortgage interest rates are still at historical lows. Call now to get pre-approved and buy your dream home. If you're currently paying over $800 a month for rent, call 561-441-2730 now before interest rates go up. Down payments as low as 3.5%. Veterans may qualify for no money down. If you own a home, but you're upside down, Michael Kodsey can help. If you're being denied by your bank or your loan process is taking too long, call 561-441-2730. Act now while fixed rates are still under 3.5%. Offices in Boca and Boynton Beach. Rates and terms subject to change daily without notice. Equal housing lender. NMLS 122081.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back. At this time on Fridays, we do it all season long, and we talk with Chris Long from winwithsports.net, which you can reach out to them, not only on the website at winwithsports.net, but 866-258-7060, so you can get Chris Long's personal picks and find out what he is thinking about this weekend's games, big games in college football and in the NFL. Let's bring him aboard. Chris, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. Couple of things. I was dying. I really wanted you to be able to play that call of the Bucs beating the Seahawks. I was really disappointed in that game. Did you watch that game? They were up 21-7.
Yeah.
Winston drops the ball in a tie ball game, touchdown. Really should have won that game. And not only did they not win, they didn't cover because they missed a 40-yard field. Seattle missed a 40-yard field goal, and we would have took the money. But that was the low point. The high point is I've been telling you for 7 weeks that the Dolphins were not going to go winless. And we got that. So, forget all that stuff. They were not going to go winless. It was a prop bet that I cashed. I didn't give it to my customers. It was just a local thing that I was really confident with, that they were going to pick one up. I didn't know which one, but I'm happy that they got off the schneid, and now they can safely lose to the Bengals and still pick up the number one pick.
Yeah, they could. Although I think they're going to beat the Bengals because they're just a better team and better coached right now, actually, because I think that's the other thing that's actually developing. I think Brian Flores is a coach. That's what we're seeing, because that guy's working with nothing, and he doesn't have the worst team in the league, and he has the worst talent in the league, yet he is getting more out of his guys than some of these other teams that have way more talent.
Yeah, I mean, they had that 14-0 lead against Pittsburgh. They had a third-quarter lead against the Bills, who were 6-2. Really, the first two games of the season really set the tone, where they got blown out by Baltimore. And then the only game Antonio Brown played the whole year happened to be against the Dolphins, and they got blown out there. Other than that, they've been competitive everywhere. Like you said, the Redskins game, the Bills game, the Pittsburgh game, the Jets, they win. They haven't, even the Cowboy game, they started with Ravens, Patriots, and Cowboys. They even played well for a half there. They fell apart. But, yeah, I mean, I'm happy they got off the schneid. We had a nice winning week last week, and we'll see what we got going on this week.
All right. And what'd you think of last night? I thought it was so weird that the Wise Guys had San Diego favored going into that matchup. Was it all that they were in love with the Packers win the week before, that they thought the Chargers had arrived or something?
It wasn't just that they beat the Packers. It was the way they beat them and the Whisenhunt firing. I thought maybe they thought they would keep that going on the ground and being able to just pound the Raiders. The Raiders, Gruden's got them going on offense, but their defense is terrible. And, I don't know. We didn't play that game. We watched it just like I watch every other game. I don't know what they saw. It was a 4-point move. They went from Raiders 2 to Chargers 2 late. I don't know. It was a coaching change. Was it the offense coordinator? Was it, some getting pieces back? Maybe, the Chargers notoriously turn the corner about this time. They usually make a late run, and it's usually too late. They'll either just miss the playoffs or they'll get a road playoff game and lose. But I guess that's what they were thinking. I couldn't tell you.
It's amazing. Remember, if you want to reach out to Chris Long today, tomorrow, Sunday, 866-258-7060. Maybe even on Monday or Thursday night you need a little help there. 866-258-7060. All right, let's start off in college football. FSU lost to Miami last week, and they also lost their head coach. Now they're on the road to take on BC. What do you think about this game? The over and under is 63 right now.
Yeah, we've been making fun of Willie Taggart on this show each and every week. I mean, I thought he was so overmatched, one of the worst coaches in Division One. They paid a pretty penny to get rid of him. I saw, with the staff and him and all the buyouts, it's going to be like $20 million. I mean, that's crazy. That's how bad of a job he did that they couldn't even let him finish the season. But again, Taggart is gone, but who's still there is Mr. Bryles, and we know about their up-tempo. I talk about them each and every week. Let's say after losing the after losing the coach, maybe Florida State is just free and easy and just lets it flow and no stress, and maybe they rally around. They still got Bryles as OC. BC, I don't know if you know this, we're used to BC in a cloud of dust. They're one of the fastest-paced teams this year in college football. So we got Bryles on one side, we got BC on the other side. I'm going points. I'm going free and easy. I lose my coach. Who gives a damn? Let's just play. Let's just throw the ball all over the place. Over 63. I think they get there easy.
All right. So FSU BC. Chris Long is going with over 63. Minnesota is plus 6.5. Taking on Penn State, two good teams. This is one of the marquee games of the day. Number 4, Penn State against number 17, Minnesota. And Minnesota is home in this one, getting 6.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, all I've been reading about is that Minnesota's a fraud, and Minnesota's played nobody, and Minnesota's schedule, and it's right. I mean, they had to survive. They had to get a 4th and 20 to beat Fresno. I mean, they were with Georgia State early on in the year. They haven't played anyone, and it's right, but there's something to be said to winning all the games in front of you. And I agree with everyone. It's a terrible schedule. There's a lot of teams that could be 8-0 against the schedule, but they're not. They won every game. I like PJ Fleck. He's a good move at coach when he came over from Western Michigan. Penn State, I've had them read wrong all year. I've been underrating them. So it scares me when, again, I'm coming up with Minnesota. But I have Penn State only as a 3.5-point favorite here. I'm taking 6.5. Right. So I got to take the home team, the 8-0 home team, taking close to a touchdown. They have an amazing defense, but I think Fleck will have his team up. And like I said, easy schedule. But you know what? You still got to win them all. They didn't slip up anywhere. They're detailed-oriented with this coach. I think they can squeak out a winner, if not lose by 3. 6.5 is too many points. 8-0 home team.
Going with Minnesota, plus 6.5 against Penn State. All right, the game of the weekend, the week, the month. Doesn't matter if it's college or the NFL. Alabama is favored by 5.5, taking on LSU. Where are you going to on this one, Chris?
Now, here we go. We got the game of the year coming up. They used to call this the game of the century, but it comes every damn year, so they stopped calling it that. Here's the thing. I flip-flop back and forth on this game a lot. Initially, I had thought LSU was the side. I thought it was too many points in a game like this. But this is not your traditional LSU-Alabama. Going back 15 years, Big O, 15 years, the highest total in this game ever was 54 points. And they usually average around 47 points. Now we got a total of 63. That's telling you something right there. Now, LSU, they just don't win this game, and I thought 7 points was too much in a slobber knocker NFL-type stuff, but this is not going to be one of those. It's not an NFL-style game. It's not NFL-style defenses. There's athletes everywhere, but this is going to be wide open. Both teams run the spread. Both teams throw it all over the joint. Got Burrow on one side, Tua on the other. Skill positions everywhere. I think this can get out of hand, and if it's going to get out of hand, it's going to get out of hand on the Alabama side. I can see LSU winning this, but I can see Alabama blowing them out. I do not see LSU blowing them out. That's one thing we've ruled out So if you just give me an Alabama laying less than a touchdown, I think it's more likely of a blowout than LSU winning that game. You know, we went back and forth. It's just a strange line. Alabama at home laying less than 6 points. Just go with it. Just trust your gut and just go with it. Alabama laid a 6.5.
All right, let's move over to the Sunday games. We've got the Bills. They are on the road taking on the Browns, and the Browns are favored by 3 against the Bills at home. Your thoughts on this one?
So this is an interesting case study here. Usually, when a line looks too good to be true, it is, okay? So, when you look at this game, you got a 6-2 versus a 2-6. And guess what? The 2-6 is favored, all right? Sometimes they'll tell you who the winner is by looking at a line for a game that doesn't make too much sense. But you've got to really dive into this one, and you have to take a look at it. And Buffalo is the better team on both sides of the ball. They're definitely better coached. I mean, this is a huge coaching mismatch. I mean, this Kitchens has to be one and done. If he's not, I don't know what's going on. Buffalo, the better team. Buffalo, the better coach. They have a game that could translate to the road even if there's wind. I mean, Josh Allen has got one of the strongest arms in all of the NFL. They can run the ball. They can play defense. We're going with the better team in Cleveland. I think last week was like their Super Bowl. I thought maybe if they could win that game and just kind of sneak on through at 3-5 and maybe run the table, that they had a chance to sneak into the playoffs. But I think they're done. I think they're cooked at 2-6, and I think they know it. And I think Buffalo is really going to take it to them. Look for an outright winner there.
Yeah, I love this game, actually, because I'm with you. I think the Browns are a freaking disaster, and I think that defense is going to cause all kinds of problems, whether he's wearing a mustache, handlebars, or a beard. Either way, it's going to be a long day for that quarterback. All right, the 49ers, the creme de la creme of the NFL, the only undefeated team in the NFL. They are minus 6.5 at Seattle here. What do you think about this one?
All right, first of all, they're at home. If I wrote that wrong, I'm sorry, yeah. But let me tell you something. You listened last week, and you heard how adamant I was that I thought Tampa Bay was actually the better team than Seattle. And I was right for 3.5 quarters, and I'm really upset that they didn't pull that off. But you know where I'm going with this. If I'm telling you Tampa Bay's better than Seattle, what am I going to tell you about this game? San Francisco is a much better team than the Seahawks, all right? I'm laying less than a touchdown. These are always these key numbers, less than a touchdown, 6, 5.5. I'm laying 6.5 at home. I took Tampa Bay to beat Seattle in Seattle. I'm definitely taking San Francisco. I think this is a game, believe it or not, the Seahawks, as good as they have been, and Russell Wilson is arguably your MVP right now, and they are one of the surprise teams and one of the better teams, they could miss the playoffs altogether. They still got 49ers twice. They still have to play the Rams. Watch what happens to this team over the next couple of weeks. We take San Francisco in a big way. And when I mean big way, I'm talking about 14-plus points. I don't even think this game is going to be close. San Francisco in a blowout.
There you go. All right, good stuff there. Let's go over the picks. FSU at BC. Chris is going with the over 63. Bama minus 5.5 against LSU. Minnesota plus 6.5 against Penn State. In the NFL, he likes the Bills plus 3 at the Browns. And the Niners at home hosting Seattle. He's going with the Niners, giving 6.5. The number is 866-258-7060. You go to the website winwithsports.net. But, Chris, this is only like an appetizer, right? You've got the main course when they call you.
Yeah, you guys, like I said, we like to have fun. We try to give you winners, and we have been giving you winners. But if you want the 70% winners, if you want the gold, if you want what my money is on, what I physically bet on, what my clients bet on, you got to give me a call or check me out on the website. We're here to screw around, but you want winners, you want to make money, please give me a call or check me out on the website. And also, college basketball has started. We gave out our first game last night. It was Washington State laying 3 against Seattle. It was a 30-point blowout. It was our first college basketball release of the year. We got that going on. We got hockey. We got NFL. We got college football. We got NBA. We got a lot of stuff going on. You got to give me a call. And lastly, like I always like to end these segments, I'm going to turn the tables. Indianapolis laying 11.5 at home against the Dolphins. What do you think?
Well, what's the over and under?
44.
I'm going with the over.
Okay.
There. That's what I'll do
All
in
right.
that game because I think they'll win by those points too. I would not take the points. I would probably lay the points there. Indy's a pretty good team, man. I think that offensive line is going to give Miami a lot of problems because they struggle to rush the passer and they struggle to cover. And that's not a really good combination when you've got a good offensive line. That's going to give Brissett time to find guys, and that's going to cause a lot. And Marlon Mack is not only a good runner, he's also a very good receiver, too, coming out of the backfield. It's going to be a lot of problems for Miami. This is going to be a tough game, man. And Frank Reich is an exceptional coach. I don't know how much more we need to see, but that guy is one of the 5 best coaches in the NFL.
Perfect. Like I said, I gave you 5 plays. And you're getting one over 44. I'm going to make a TV bet on it. I don't have a problem doing that. I'll go over the 44. All right, man. Nice speaking to you, and I'll talk to you next week.
You got it, Chris. You be good out there. Bye. Thank you. As always, Chris, for great information. Winwithsports.net. The number is 866-258-7060. Let me give them to you again. He likes FSU and BC over 63. He's going with Bama minus 5.5 against LSU. He's going plus 6.5 Minnesota against Penn State. He's going Bills plus 3 at the Browns. I like that game too. I like the Bills in that one, even though I don't trust that quarterback ever. But I like that one because the Bills' defense, I think, is going to turn over the Browns a bunch of times. The 49ers, minus 6.5, taking on Seattle. He likes the Niners in that one. The Bills' quarterback, if he's smart, he runs as much as possible since he can't pass. The now infamous Prime Prep Academy shut its doors permanently a year ago with less than a half hour's notice. Students walked away from Dallas and Fort Worth campuses with no school. Employees left without jobs or paychecks for their final month of work. Wow, they weren't paying their employees? I know of that. With tears and anger, the state's most hype and scrutinized charter, thanks in part to co-founder Deion Sanders, ceased to exist long after the school's demise. Its legacy continues beyond Sanders' reality show and former primetime prep basketball star Emmanuel Moudier's, that's it, Emmanuel Moudier's entry into the NBA. A pair of lawsuits is still active, even after others were dropped. One targets the nonprofit work that led up to the creation of the school, while the other was filed by ex-Prime Prep employees against school administrators, and local, state, and federal officials launched investigations into wrongdoing. The school failed not because of tough new rules meant to shut down failing charter schools. Instead, financial mismanagement fueled the slow-motion collapse and led to the school's eventual failure. Ron Price, a former Dallas ISD trustee who was superintendent for much of last year, was hired to turn the school around. He said he was misled about the school's finances when he was hired, misled in the final months, and rebuffed when he tried to cut expenses. Boy, misled on finances. I've been told that too. If everybody involved would have been more truthful to me and our new team, I still believe we could have saved it, he says. Board President Christopher Lewis said the school's demise could be tracked back to early mistakes made by the school's nonprofit sponsor, Uplift Fort Worth, not to be confused with the respected and still operating Uplift Education. The issues with Prime Prep started before Prime Prep was even formed, he says. That was the ultimate demise of the financial situation. I will always have a great deal of regret that we couldn't take a great idea and great opportunity and do more with it. When asked to comment via text, Sanders, Deion, the dumbest thing I've ever heard all year, Sanders, who was fired, fired, and rehired at the school, initially pitched Prime Prep as a school that would create CEOs, succeed where other public schools failed, and do good in the hood. But the school was marred by controversies from the beginning, and the perception that it's focused on athletics to the exclusion of academics. In 2013, the year ended with a high-profile fight for control between Sanders and co-founder D.L. Wallace, who was forced out of the school. Prime Prep started 2014 with the hope and ambition, much like it had when the school opened in 2012. Here's a look at the final 13 months of Prime Prep, particularly financial, legal, regulatory problems that led to its closure. The story is based on news stories, lawsuits, school documents, Texas Education Agency, Texas Comptroller data, and Prime Prep Bank Registry. And it shows a graph of it going down, all that stuff. Anyway, this is all where Dion was at. And why, a lot of people are thinking, well, Dion for head coach, and is this a good idea to bring Dion in to run your football program? Because remember, when you're running a football program, you are running a lot of things, right? Well, let me get to the part here where it has for Dion, because he threatened a guy and everything. Where is this thing here? It's a long article. But I want to get to the part where it's about Dion here. And this thing's freezing up on me. Come on, here we go. It's a long-ass article. I could not read the whole thing for you. I'm already almost 4 hours into talking as it is. Where is this part here with Dion? I am so sorry. Here it is. I think this is it right here. Here we go. Dion, by the way, says, you've won and lost battles that ultimately cost you friends, family, and finances and time. Everything ain't worth fighting for. He tweeted out. He put that out there. It says, late that month, Sanders also organized a meeting with TEA staff and A.W. Brown officials about a possible merger without the authorization of the superintendent or board that was immediately rejected by Education Commissioner Michael Williams. Price would later say that he should have recommended closing Prime Prep in August, right? Goes on to say, see what else was Dion involved in here, because it's such a long article. On November 3rd, Sanders gave Prime Prep another $50,000, allowing it to stay barely afloat. The board was briefed in a closing session about the school's financial troubles. State funding for that year had dropped for about $2 million. Someone in the administration stopped paying money owed to Texas workforce commissioners. Price would later say he was unaware of the bills that weren't paid. All right, goes on and on and on. I put it on Twitter, on my Twitter page, and it shows some stuff that Dion did. Like he lost his cool with one guy. I just wish I could find it, because I read it before, and then I was trying to. I should have saved that. I should have. What's it called? Screenshotted that part, because this is a really, really long article, and I think I passed it up now. Oh man, it's juicy stuff. It's really, really good, and it was a disaster. The school was a disaster, and Dion was part of the leadership of that school. That's why I'm telling you that this story, that if you would make Dion Sanders the lead guy in a football program, it would make no sense whatsoever. It would just, listen, again, I'm a UM fan. If you want to make the ACC, not that Miami's taking advantage of the ACC, but if you want to make it slightly easier, then go ahead. Put Dion there at FSU. That would be fantastic. I'm still trying to, I'm talking to you and I'm still scrolling here, trying to find the juicy part of it that you can see about Dion that you'd be like, wow. This story is, this took a lot of work, by the way. The writer that put this together has so much information, and it's all, chronologically put together really, really well. I hate that I lost this thing now. And it just freezes on you here. Anyway, so we are going to take a quick break here. When we come back on the other side, Armando and Emilio, or maybe just Armando, I'm not exactly sure, from Dolphins Nation Mexico, is going to join us here at the top of the hour. We'll talk a little Dolphins with him. They're going to be part of the group that's going to join us in Vegas for that major, major party that we're going to have in Vegas for the draft. And we'll be broadcasting every day the draft, and video. So we'll have a little fun. What are you doing, bro? I have no idea what you're telling me.
This is what I was telling you. When the stream messes up, you got to go out, let the blue line go by, go done, and it's back.
Okay, that's fine, dude. Nobody cares about that.
I'm just
all right. Let's take a break. Let's come back. We'll talk to Armando from Dolphins Nation, Mexico, and we won't bore you with any of our stuff from behind the scenes. We're coming to you live from Hialeah Park. We're in the second floor poker room. Please come on by on Fridays. Come on out, hang out with us, and of course, enjoy the incredible poker room.
The ladies are pretty cute too.
Yeah, that's actually very true. The ladies are very cute here. So TVs everywhere and great food. Back with the final segment of the program right here on The Big O Show.
Plus tax, tech title. It includes $8.99 dealer fee on approved credit offers and 11/10/19.
Over 1,500 Toyotas are on the ground, and truckloads of new 2020 Toyotas just keep on coming. To eliminate all 2019 models, Toyota of Hollywood is holding the ultimate 2019 model year changeover event. Make us an offer, any offer, and you can buy a Toyota at up to 50% less than their original MSRP when new and used. 50% less. A pre-owned 2019 RAV4, not $30,000, $19,775. A pre-owned 2019 Camry LE, not $26,000, $17,775. A pre-owned 2019 Corolla LE, not $22,000, $12,775. Pay up to 50% less at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer, based on total retail sales of new Toyotas in the Southeast region for 2014 to 2018 per SET, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
All right, welcome back. We take you here, final segment. And Armando and Emilio are closing out our segment. You know what we do every Friday, as you know, we are the home for Dolphins all over the world right here on the Big O Show. They know that this is their home. And so every Friday we close out with a president of a Dolphin club, and we've got Armando and Emilio from Dolphins Nation, Mexico. I met Armando over at Bow Campers this past weekend, and the boys are there with us. Armando, Emilio, you guys there? Do we have them? Let's see. Armando, Emilio, you there? We are hoping they're there. Let's see. We know they're there. It's just one of those connecting thingamajiggies here. Now, Armando, Emilio, you there? There we go.
Can you hear them?
I am hearing you now. Perfect. I am hearing you guys.
Perfect.
All right. Who is this one? Armando or Emilio?
This is Emilio.
All right. Good.
Yeah, this is Armando.
There we go. All right, boys. How you guys doing? You guys doing all right?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Are you ready for Vegas? How many from Dolphins Nation, Mexico are going to meet us in Vegas for the greatest Dolphin weekend ever?
Well, we're not totally sure yet, but we're making it a priority.
Okay.
To go to Vegas.
All right, man. We got to see you there, bro. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to own Vegas. The aqua and orange is going to be all over Vegas, man. I mean, I don't know. I know so many Dolphin fans at this point that are going because it's Vegas and we get to do this. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right?
Pretty much, man.
So what'd you guys think?
Vegas has everything for.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Vegas has everything for a great party, and it's going to be a completely aqua and orange. So we're on our way.
So where were you guys? Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm all on board on Las Vegas. Yes, sir. I'm going to Vegas.
Oh, you are? Nice. There you go. That's right.
Yes, sir.
You told me. That's right. You told me on Saturday that you were going to go to the Vegas. That's right. I remember that.
Yes,
now,
sir.
Where were you guys last week? Are you part of the tankers, or were you rooting for your Dolphins to win? Because I have a hard time with the tankers. Like, really, you want the Jets to beat you? I don't know how any Dolphin on the planet could be happy with the Jets beating them. So I'm wondering, where were you guys last week on this? Rooting for the Dolphins or rooting for the tank?
Well, I'm always rooting for the Dolphins.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm like a new. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, right? Did you meet any of those Dolphins that said, "Nah, we need to lose"? That's kind of crazy, right?
Yes, beat the Jets. It's a priority, man.
Yeah, it's in your DNA as a Dolphin. You don't want to lose to the Patriots. You don't want to lose to the Bills, and you don't want to lose to the stinking Jets, man. I mean, that's me.
That's right.
Never. I was happy as hell. Plus, sticking it to Gase made it that much sweeter, right? You beat the Jets and you stick it to Gase.
Yes, sir.
That was a cherry on top, yes.
All right, so guys, tell us about Dolphins Nation Mexico, man, because obviously everybody's kind of used to their Dolphin clubs here, but in Mexico they're wondering, all right, so what do you guys do? How do you get together? How do you watch the games? Walk us through a Sunday with Dolphins Nation Mexico.
Okay. Well, it starts a little bit earlier than Sunday. We basically send out some flyers to our Facebook page indicating the amount of, just to see how many Dolphins are going to go to the game. We go to a restaurant called Las Alitas, which translates into the wing. And basically, we just meet up there. We're a big family now. And we just have a blast. I mean, it's very family oriented, no cussing, nothing like that. I mean, like I'm a father of 2 kids. I take them out, and they just have a great time there as well.
How'd you become a Dolphins fan? How did you become a Dolphins fan?
In the Super Bowl between the Washington Redskins and the Miami Dolphins, I was 5 years old, and my dad, he's a pretty big Redskins fan, and he pulled me into the room and asked me, "Who do you like?" And at the time, I was 5. My favorite TV show at the time was Flipper, and my favorite animal was dolphins. So I broke my father's heart when I said I'm rooting for the Dolphins. Unfortunately, we lost, but it was still good little story.
Yeah, Diesel ran right over us, man. I remember that. Armando, how did you become a Dolphin?
I'm a fan, Bigo, since the middle finger of Brian Cox showing in the Buffalo Bills field.
The middle finger. The middle finger brought you on board.
Yes,
okay.
sir, the middle finger. Yes, sir. Since then, Bigo, I love this bravery and all the fans screaming against us.
Right.
Brian Cox and Peter Hardman.
Now, can you answer something for me, guys, because you live there and you should know. I get it when you have a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans because Mexico is right next to Texas, so I kind of understand that. There's a lot of Miami Dolphin fans in Mexico. Why? How? How did that happen? I don't get it.
Well, the thing is, when in the 70s, when the NFL started broadcasting here in Mexico City,
Uh-huh.
Well, the two biggest teams at the time were obviously the Steelers and and the Cowboys. But Miami wasn't that far off. I mean, we had just won the Super Bowl in '73, so that's the reason why there are so many. And also, Miami from Mexico is not that far away.
True. Yeah, no,
Even
you're.
on an airplane,
I get what you're saying. Yeah, Caribbean. That's right. Yeah, exactly. Just flying
Yeah.
through the Caribbean. You're right about that. Yeah, it's. I mean, just flying
Yeah.
across the Gulf, and you're here. You're
Correct.
right. You're right. It's actually not that far, but it is amazing to me how many Mexican fans love the Dolphins. It is just. And in England too, man, it's the same thing, and it's just something that I did not expect, but it really is true that there's a lot of Mexican people that love the Dolphins, man. It's crazy.
In our Facebook page, we're 2,354 fans, and we're not the only Dolphin fan club, obviously.
Wow. On average, how many Dolphins get together to watch a game on Sunday with you guys in your group?
We started out 6 guys, and now we have had events with about 200 people.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. Well, you guys brought like 50, 60 people down here to South Florida this past weekend, right? If I'm correct?
Just below, we were 59 people.
Wow.
From Dolphins Nation, Mexico, exactly.
That is awesome. How about the couple that got married?
Yeah, that was amazing. The Dolphins Rex allowed it to
that was pretty
give
cool.
the ring to the lady. Pretty cool, yes.
That was pretty cool.
Mark Angelo for make this possible. Mark Angelo and his influence in the team.
Yeah, NorCal is absolutely amazing, man. Good stuff
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes, here.
Yeah, no, he's doing a great job. Obviously, he's been a friend of mine for a while, but he's also doing a great job putting this whole Vegas thing together because that thing is going to be a blast. So, what do you guys think about this weekend against the Colts? It's going to be a tough one, right?
Yeah, a lot of injuries.
I'm sorry?
Definitely tough. It is going to be definitely tough. I mean, especially with setbacks, that kind of, makes it a little bit harder for us to win, but we'll still be cheering. That's our job as fans.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to other things in this game. Kalen Ballage is going to play. The Patrick Laird kid is going to get some playing time. I want to see what he does.
Right.
Now that Preston Williams sadly is out, Devontae Parker has to kind of like take another step forward, and he's been playing really well, and they're going to have to count on him more. Gesicki's been playing really well. Who are you guys excited about when you see some of these young guys developing? Who are you excited about now?
I like Gesicki. I mean, last year he underachieved a lot, and this year he's just balling. Well, thing is Parker. So I like Gesicki, though. I think we got a good one in him.
Yeah, he's developed nicely. How about you, Armando?
I want Patrick Laird to take some snaps, man.
You want? Oh, you want who again?
Patrick Laird.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. I like what I saw from him in the preseason, and I'm
The white
excited.
one.
And listen, hey guys, if Kalen Ballage is screwing around and not playing well like he has so far this year, they're going to give Patrick Laird even more carries after that. This is a very important. This is a very important month for Kalen Ballage. While Mark Walton is out, he better prove himself to be more capable and more reliable. Because if he doesn't, Miami's going to be drafting somebody else and replacing him next year.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
No doubt. Armando Emilio, if people want to sign up and be a part of Dolphins Nation Mexico, what do they got to do?
They just got to go to our Facebook page, DolphinsNationMexico.com. It's a group. We'll love to have you. And also, since you mentioned NorCal, there is the possibility of a game here in Mexico City. So he can also help us out a little bit in case that happens, to organize it a little bit better for you guys to come on down.
Yeah, man, that's a great. If it does happen for next year, if they go to which I hope they go to Mexico, not London, because I can't afford London. But in Mexico, I can I can afford. And I can go hang out with you guys, and hell, maybe we'll do the show out there too. What the hell? Have some fun.
Hey, man, we'll buy the tacos.
You got it. You got it.
Mi casa es tu casa, big O.
Gracias. Un placer, Armando y Emilio. Thank you guys for joining us, and look forward to seeing you guys in Las Vegas, man. All right, Emilio. Emilio, you got to come out there with Armando, man. I got to hang out with you and have some fun, all right?
Yeah, man.
All right, baby. You guys be good out there, all right? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having us here, Orlando. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure, Armando. Thank you, my friend. There you go. That's Armando and Emilio with Dolphins Nation Mexico. How about that? That is awesome. I love talking to Dolphins all over the world. Although some of them, they get nervous, right? They get on, and then they're a little worried about what they need to say and all that. Just chill, man. It's like you're talking with a friend, because that's what I am. That's it. That's all it is. No big deal.
Guys are pretty cool.
Very cool. And we thank Armando and Emilio from Dolphins Nation Mexico. We thank Chris Long from WinWithSports.net, Brody Miller, LSU reporter with The Athletic. We thank Andy Behrens, talking a little fantasy football. We thank the Brunetti family, of course, first and foremost. Frank Fiore, all the great folks out here. Where's Steve, man? I haven't seen Steve the last couple of weeks here.
Well, if you hang out until 5:30 or 6 like I had to podcasting stuff, you might run into Steve.
Yeah, I know. No shot. I think I've been here long enough. I think we did I think we did a studly job today.
Yes. Listen, guys.
4 hours.
The sound on those first 5 things, that'll be straightened out within the hour.
Okay. All right, there you go. We'll see you guys on Monday for the broadcast. But on Saturdays and Sundays, we add stuff as it goes and happens. So a little we got the Dolphins playing. We'll have a Dolphins podcast for you. We'll have a podcast for you. All of that over the weekend. And any breaking news, we'll have something.
Don't forget
on
the
that.
Heat's on tonight at 10:30.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. The Heat beating the Lakers tonight, right? It's going to happen. Lead pipe lock. Be good out there.